Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the Champions Cup final. It's been long awaited, but Leinster taking on Toulouse in this final. See who is the best side currently in the Champions Cup. Both sides doing well in their respective competitions. Leinster in the URC, Toulouse in the top 14, and both sides having decent performances in their semi-finals. But looking through, first of all, at the home side, well, the kind of home side in this game. Leinster are considered as top qualifiers, but this is still neutral ground. It's going to be played at Tottenham Hotspur's Stadium, which does mean anything can happen here. And Toulouse don't have that massive advantage that they normally would have if they were playing this one at home. But looking through at the starting lineup, it is Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Tyke Furlong for Leinster, an all-Irish international front row with Joe McCarthy and Jason Jenkins slotting into the locking duo. Ryan Beard, Will Connors, and Caelan Doris. So they have once again opted to go with Josh Van den Flair off the bench for the kind of impact that he adds. I think that it is also slightly strategic because they do want to keep him a bit more fresh for the URC, which of course we are getting very close to those playoff games. Jameson Gibson Park will be there, and number 9 with Ross Byrne slotting in as the fly half. Jamie Osborne and Robbie Henshaw are in the midfield, with James Lowe out on one wing, was scoring tries for fun in that game up against Northampton. Jordan Lama out on the other wing, and Hugo Keenan to slot in at 15, close out the Leinster starting lineup. Then for Toulouse, Cyril Bailly, Pietro Malvaca, and also El Liegri. So an all-French front row in terms of the internationals, going head-to-head, of course, with the Irish front row. And this Leinster side, Flemont and Mia Fu as the locking duo, with Jack Willis as the number 6, Francois Creux at 7, and Roma as the number 8. Antoine Dupont, that man made a massive difference in the game up against the Harlequins, which of course was a massively high-scoring semi-final between the two teams, back and forth. But Dupont, with his sniping runs around the side of the breakdown, did lead to him getting himself a try or two. Roman Intermac as the 10. This combination is exactly where Leinster need to try and shut down, because when you look at some of the men on the outside, Lebel, Juan Cruz Malia out on the other wing, Blair Kinghorn at 15. The big question is, what are they going to do with the kicking tee? Kinghorn got it in the semi-final. He wasn't kicking too well, and it did seem like Thomas Ramos was starting to get rather annoyed that Kinghorn wasn't getting the kicks over, just like Ramos normally would. Peter Ake and Costes as the midfield there for Toulouse as well. Looking through at the benches for these two sides, as you can see for Toulouse at number 23, Thomas Ramos will be there off the bench with Shoka Barres, as well as Grial at the 21. Julian Marchand, Rory Arnold, plenty of talent for Toulouse off that bench. And for Leinster, they have once again gone with that 6-2 split, with the reinforcements of Josh Van den Flair, Jack Conan, and James Ryan to all add a little bit of an extra punch near the end of this contest. But in the chat, we have got Come On Toulouse, says Anthony. Come on the boys in blue, says Richard. URC for life, says Zendon. Of course, the URC will be back next week. It's taken the week off due to these finals taking place. Of course, a massive congratulations to the Sharks. We're able to get themselves the win in the Challenge Cup up against Gloucester in the game that took place yesterday. URC must wipe the floor with the rest of the Euro teams, says Zend. I mean, at this stage, we have seen one of the URC sides making their way through to the final, that being Leinster. They're going head-to-head with one of the top sides in the top 14, being Toulouse. So yeah, it should be a very entertaining game, that is for sure. I hope Leinster get the job done. It will be good to have both trophies won by URC teams, says Justin. And also, so tell me, Hamish, what did you think of last night's brilliant victory by the Sharks? And they are back in next season, Investor Champions Cup. I think that for the Sharks, it's a massive confidence booster, because they will be the first to tell you their season for the URC has been pretty poor. And with the players that they've got, with the talent available, with the skills that that side has got as a whole, they will be utterly disappointed with where they sit on the URC table. But the fact that at the moment they are the only South African side with any sort of trophy in their cabinet at club level, that is a massive confidence booster for them. And the fact that they're in the Champions Cup next year, when they bring in their reinforcements of Andre Estes and Jason Jenkins, who's actually playing 5 for Leinster in this game, and then alongside that you've also got Trevor Nakanye also making his way to the Sharks next year. They will certainly have a strong side, and hopefully they'll end up going all right in the overall scheme of the competition. Meow says, heads ablaze, welcome in. Hope you are doing well, mate. Looking at the previous results for these two sides. First of all, for Leinster, they had a last-minute thriller in their game up against Ulster that did take place last week, in the end losing it 23 points to 21. So that's actually 3 losses in a row now for Leinster in the URC. They did go with a little bit of a makeshift side, and the interesting part here is they have put, I want to say, almost all their eggs in one basket. They are, of course, still going to be in the top 8 of the URC. That cannot be denied. But something that could be denied is a home final for Leinster, because of the fact that they've been sacrificing some games of the URC for the sake of having a bit of a better, stronger side here in this Champions Cup final. It means that might actually end up costing them one trophy to get another. So they have to make sure that they win this game, because they have put so much emphasis on getting a big win in this competition. Game prior to that, my apologies, they did actually beat the Ospreys. That was the one game that they have won in their last 4 contests. So they are sitting 3 losses, 1 win in the last 4. And then their semi-final up against Northampton, they scored a majority of their points throughout the first half with some great work from James Lowe. Went a little bit quiet for them, but as Northampton built back into the game, Leinster got themselves some crucial points to then walk away with the victory. We look through at what Toulouse have done recently. They beat Montpellier away from home, and it is not to be underestimated how big of a win it is when a French side wins away from home. That competition, probably more so than any other comp in the world, the home advantage means so much, and it can give you such a massive boost heading into the matchup. They beat Stade Francais the week prior, and then the week prior to that, they were able to beat the Harlequins 38 points to 26. Seemed like the Quins were starting to make a bit of a comeback in that contest. Joe Marler gave Ramos a slap on the back of the head, and that killed all momentum that they were trying to build. But in the chat as well, we have got there, can you say ooh woo, please? No. All that's threatening civil war with NZRU, says Manny M, and hope Ethan Hooker just isn't going to be left behind by with Estes and joining. Fenta is no good, says Justin. Black Ferns need to rebuild. They're going to win next year's World Cup, says Manny M. You just did now, Pedza. And also the Rugby Championship cannot come sooner. Can't wait to see what happens. The Stormers will have Stephen Kitsoff back for the next season after 1 season stint at Ulster, or even almost less than a season stint, wasn't it? In the end for Kitsoff, I think both sides came to the agreement it wasn't really working out. Don't get me wrong, like Stephen Kitsoff, fantastic player when he's in the right environment, but Ulster was not that right environment. It just seemed like it just wasn't working, really, and he wasn't in his best form either, so I think that also probably dwindled a bit of the confidence of Kitsoff while he was playing. I said, please, says Petzer. Nah, I'm all right. Looking at the future games for these two sides, of course, we are far from the end of the competition. Toulouse, they are going head-to-head with La Rochelle in their top 14 game next week. And then for Leinster, they have got one more game of the URC up against Connacht before we go into the quarterfinals, which are getting closer and closer by the minute, not just in the URC, but also in Super Rugby as well. I'm propping for this game, says a Rooster. And also we have got their Stormers need to get some centre replacements, says Justin. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because certain sides in South Africa are starting to really get some real strong reinforcements. And then the only other side of things there is some of the sides are starting to lose a few spots. Kitsoff is one of the best in the world right now. He is when he's in that Springbok kit. He is when he was in that Stormers kit. For Ulster, I'll be honest, I haven't seen too many Ulster supporters who are actually happy that they signed. Like, at the start, they were thrilled that they had Kitsoff, and then the amount of penalties that were against them throughout the season have been almost unheard of, which is really rare because, like I mentioned, Stephen Kitsoff, you look at him as one of those guys in that World Cup that were able to keep leading from the front for the Springboks. But yeah, I think it's a good signing that he's gone back to South Africa. I feel like he'll be much better off in that environment. He'll be able to thrive with the side and also be able to help that next generation of young props from South Africa moving their way up. Hopefully Kitsoff is back as captain for the Stormers. Anyone know how I can watch this game live in Australia, please? Says Rory. I think it's on... actually, no. It's on Rugby Pass TV, I believe, for you guys in Australia, Rory. So hopefully that is the option. As Sia going to captain the Bok to another Rugby World Cup victory. By the sounds of it, Rassi has said he doesn't want a captain from overseas. He wants a guy who's playing in South Africa as the captain. So I honestly don't know if Khaleesi will actually end up as the captain for that next World Cup. I feel like by then he may have been kind of pushed aside, which I'm sure he won't want to. I think he'll want to be there at that World Cup ready to go for another one. Peter Lakai, a successor to Ardie Savia, says Manny M. And also we have got their Sunday Super Rugby, yes, and of course there is a game just around the corner taking place between two Super Rugby sides, and the Fijian Drua and the Highlanders. We are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. Hi all, the stadium is rocking, huge blue contingent. Not sure of the split for fan numbers, but lots of red there too, says Brian. And that's the thing, both of these sides have very loyal fan bases, that whether their sides are winning or losing, the fans are going to be there. The thing is though, a lot more often than not, these two sides are winning games rather than losing them. Looking through at the starting lineup once again for Leinster in this contest, Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Tyke Furlong will be the front row. Joe McCarthy and Jason Jenkins slotting in as the locking duo in this contest, and then Ryan Baird, Will Connors at 7 rather than Josh Van den Flower, who does find himself making his way off the bench. Caelan Doris at 8, going to be so clinical and so pivotal in the way that this 4-pack for Leinster does end up playing. Then, in the back line, Jamieson, Gibson Park. This game, some would argue, is the battle of the two best nines in the world. Now, that is a bold statement, and that is why I said some would argue it, but a lot of people have got the opinion of DuPont 1, Gibson Park 2. Now, whether or not that is going to stay that way at the end of this game, maybe one of them will outshine the other. If it's Gibson Park, you know, there could even be the argument that maybe he is the best 9 in the world. Ross Byrne at 10, Jamie Osborne and Robbie Henshaw as the 12 and 13, James Lowe, Jordan Lama and Hugo Keenan there at number 15. For Toulouse, Surabai, Malvaka and Eldehri will be the front row with Flemont and Miafu slotting in behind them as the locks. Jack Willis, Francois Creux and Rumar there as the number 8, Antoine Dupont and Roman Intermac. The 9-10 battles in this game is just so, mouth-watering to a certain extent. When you look at it on paper, it just seems like we're going to be in for a great contest, and I do hope that both of these sides are able to deliver. Peter Aki and Costes as the midfield with Lebel, Juan Cruz Malia and Blair Kinghorn there at number 15. And then you says Rory. So yeah, hopefully it does work, Rory. Do let me know. My prediction, Toulouse to win by 10 points. It's 1:41 a.m. You are very keen, my friend, says Raffle Sear. Yeah, we've been covering this the whole day, or covering it, the whole competition, I should say. Who is this the Kai person I hear about a lot? People say he could be the next big thing, but I don't believe whispers until they play the box. That's the real test. Says Gary. I mean, it's certainly going to be a test up against the Springboks, but I don't think it's always the case of the best players have to play well against the Springboks. You look at John Olomu. He never scored a try up against South Africa, yet he is still regarded as one of the best to ever do it. So, yes, you can do well up against the South African team, but at the same time, you can still make your legacy outside of versing one side, because if you're going off that, you'd say that a lot of these Irish boys have created their own legacy by beating the Springboks quite a few of the last few times that they've ended up playing them. And I feel like that would be something you'd disagree with, so certain circumstances make certain, I guess, situations for different players. Hopefully DuPont and Park box it out of the pitch to see who's the best, says Justin. Yeah, they just drop the gloves and start imagine that, just having a punch up on the halfway line, the 2 9s. I feel like the crowd would go absolutely wild if that was to happen. And Leinster will win this by the 20 plus points. And then DuPont or Gibson Park have won a World Cup. I would say they're both average compared to Fuff. Yeah, although a lot of people aren't that fond of Fuff at the moment. They have said that the next generation of Springbok scrum halves could actually be a lot stronger in the future. But I do like your camaraderie, and I do like the way that you are fully behind the Springboks no matter what happens results-wise. You still have to admit they're both pretty bloody good players though, aren't they? Ireland in the World Cup though, they can't win when it counts, says Gary. I can see that this is going to be a fun one, Gary. We're going to have a day of sucking off the Springboks. We have got Bajona did destroy us in Super Rugby, says Zenda, and Lecker, says Giggy Chad. And good luck to both teams, a good night to everyone. Y'all have a great day and night. And they're from Banter to tell me, Hamish, are you going to wear the suit at the Rugby Championship? I believe the suit will be on the cards. For that one, who are you going for, Leinster or Stade Toulouse? I think that Leinster are going to take this one. I feel like the neutral ground is actually going to help them drastically in this contest. Gary sleeps in a Bock jersey. I would believe it. But that's the thing, like, you have to admire the passion. At the end of the day, like, the fact that no matter what happens, he's going to be behind his box, even when they're not playing in this final. He is behind his box, and that's the type of fan that when you get that green and gold jersey and you wear it and you look into the stands, Gary's there. He's bought his whole family Springbok kits as well, and they are all watching on with their fuff wigs on. But this is now going to be the kickoff. I've got a Bock jersey from every era since 1996. So enough for the whole family. In that case, don't be salty, Gary, says Brian. No, Gary's all right. But now, Roman Intermac ready to kick this one off in the Champions Cup, ladies and gentlemen, for 2024's final is now underway, and it's claimed by Leinster inside of their 22. Jamison Gibson Park bringing this ball back, and we're going to get to see the first box kick of this contest, and I believe it will be the first of many. Goes down into the half where Blair Kinghorn is waiting for it. The Toulouse fullback, of course, ex-Edinburgh player, nicely taken by Gibson Park, passes it across to Robbie Henshaw. Almost a little bit of obstruction there. Matthew Carley says play on. Not salty for wins in a Rugby World Cup is Lecker, says Gary, and I'm the biggest Box supporter here. I was at the 2019 and 2023 final, says Rory. So yeah, you certainly covered some miles following this Springbok side. But now Jamison Gibson Park going to be kicking this one up high. Working it down towards the halfway line. Slapping it backwards, Kinghorn. Now Antoine Dupont. He's going to have a stint here for Toulouse, and then he will be heading back to the sevens. Box forever in the Sharks, says Rihanna. And then I watched the 1995 World Cup when I was 5 months old, says Justin. The ball is there, Dupont going in behind. Nice running forward from Toulouse, looking for their next offload out wide to Juan Cruz Malia. Goes for the grubber, sets up for Antoine Dupont, who keeps the ball alive, but he was just in touch, I believe. The touch judges said Juan Cruz Malia is celebrating the try, but I believe the touch judge had his flag up. I think they're going to have to check this one, but Toulouse may have just struck within 90 seconds. I'm going for Leinster, and I have to, because they are Irish, says Connor. Right. The on-field decision is no try. Now, I do believe that the touch judge actually did put his flag up in the air. So the on-field decision is going to be no try, but they will have to check whether or not Dupont, first of all, did go into touch, and whether or not he was able to get that offload away in time, and it went backwards. That is the three main things we are looking at. See, the touch judge put his flag up, and then he hit it when the referee looked over at him. I feel like, yep, that foot has brushed the line from Antoine Dupont, and that is going to be no try for Toulouse, but certainly a great start to this contest, coming out of the gates firing, and almost within 90 seconds did get themselves the try. I want to know what contract Dupont is on. Wonder if guys like Marnie Cheslin could alternate between the NFL for the big dollars and rugby. Probably not, because the perfect example of not being able to do that is Lewis Rees-Zammit. But if it was between rugby sevens and rugby union, you've got a little bit more of an argument. But between the NFL, because of the seasons overlapping, it means that it's just not possible for them to be able to play in both. Definitely not with the concern of injury. Like Lewis Rees-Zammit, he gave up the Welsh international jersey. He gave up his Gloucester jersey for the sake of playing in the NFL, now signed with the Chiefs. But yeah, if rugby sevens, I mean, we're seeing Hugo Keenan go to the seven side of things. We're seeing Antoine Dupont transition, Michael Hooper as well. Next week is Madrid sevens and Dupont here. Sierra's Blues Nate. So yeah, more than likely he'll be missing from the Madrid sevens final. Where are they playing? They are playing at Tottenham Hotspurs Stadium. So, of course, Tottenham Hotspurs, that was a head-on-head contact on Jack Willis. Went way too upright into that challenge. Be careful doing that, or else he could end up with the yellow card. But clearing kick downfield from Leinster to lose this side against, taking it quickly. Here was Lewis Rees-Zammit. He is that Welsh winger. He was number 14, I believe, for a majority of the season, but quite a well-known player. Although he's not South African, so maybe that is why you don't know him. And Gary, they already say that Lewis Rees is too small, says Zender. And go Leinster, says Cross. And Sharks played there last night, says Crossboarding. Yep, both for the Games Challenge and Champions Cup, taking place from the same location. Ball is sacked by Joe McCarthy. And it is going to be play on for just this little bit longer. Toulouse with Dupont hanging on to this ball on the halfway line. Lowell says Justin. Now across to the left-hand side. Going for the grubber in behind. Looking for a bit of territory, but back there to cover is Hugo Keenan, who almost takes an awkward tumble. Tackled by Lebel, and they have to dig in that breakdown for this ball, Leinster, to try and get it away. But the pressure is certainly on from Toulouse's big forward pack. And great relieving kick. Says Brian, is there a Rugby League Sevens international tournament? They used to do it NRL 9s. But I don't believe that's a thing anymore, and I don't think they do it for international either. But yeah, Seven's pretty unique in terms of its own kind of format and own competitions that they have. Next week, we are going to be covering it. I don't know who that is, but the South African boys carry it much above their weight. Remember Fuff picking up their England number 8. He ran from the back of the scrum and driving him back 10 metres. Says Gary, never seen a Welshman do that. You love your South Africans, don't you, Gary? I think we've never had so many comments about like a side that haven't been playing in a match in this short of a period of time. So I do have to give you that, Gary. It annoys me that we're being denied 3 tests against the Irish. It is really annoying that they have decided to only go with the 3 games. Although a Welshman actually picked up Israel Folau and drove him back 10 metres, didn't he? Now that I think about it, was it Jonathan Davis or Liam Williams who ended up picking up Israel Folau and ended up carrying him backwards before he got DDT'd? So I feel like, we have seen a Welshman do it before. South Africa versus Wales, 22nd of June. It's live on ABC Sports. Says cross-boarding, George North. That's the one. Who did I say? I said everyone but him, didn't I? I think I said Liam Williams and Jonathan Davis. Lining up this kick now, Toulouse have got themselves the penalty. Is live on SABC Sports. Says cross-boarding. Now Kinghorn. Ramos doesn't get the starting spot very often for Toulouse in this competition, and I think there is a bit of confusion around that and why they've decided to give Kinghorn that nod. But he has got the kick over this time, and that will give Toulouse the lead after 5 minutes in this Champions Cup final, 3 points to 0. New Zealand only has 1 team in the NRL, should have more, says Manny M. Although I think for them to get more, they need to make sure that they win it with that team first. If the Warriors could finally get themselves a title in the NRL, that might make an argument. But George North is bigger than Folau. Fuff is 2 times smaller than the England number 8. Like I said, carry above their weight, says Gary. And watch on ITVX with VPN, says Brian. Now, it's going to be kicked off by Leinster. Looking to get that turnover in the breakdown, but unable to do so. Dupont now. Looks like he is going to roll this one back. In fact, might even consider going for the pocket. They've been told to get out of there. Leinster almost giving away the penalty. Gary, you're drunk, bro, says Justin there. And greetings, Hamish and chat. As a Munster fan, it's a dark, dark day for me. I'm shouting on while my son is sleeping, so silently wishing for Leinster. Yeah, but Fuff got Drom Krag like Dupont. I want to be at Loftus for the first game against against Ireland. Yeah, it's going to be a massive one. Where can you watch the game? Depends on whereabouts you are in the world. The Champions Cup website is a great option of showing you exactly where you can watch. Here in New Zealand, it's on Sky. Another penalty goes the way of Toulouse. Leinster just in the breakdown are a little bit scrappy at the moment. I believe that one is against Will Connors. I love to see a hybrid team of New Zealand Kiwis and the All Blacks. Says a Manny M. Have you been to New Zealand Rugby Stadium, South Africa versus New Zealand? I have not. I've never actually been to an All Blacks game. Believe it or not. We've probably covered at least 50 of them on the channel, and we've done about 1,500 live matches of rugby, but never been to one. Like, of professional level, that is. Like, the slightly lower level, provincial stuff, yes, but not, like, the top level. Looks like he's going to be lining up this one again. I will be there, best rugby stadium and atmosphere in the world. They don't call it the Cauldron for nothing, says Gary. That in-goal area is way too small. It will hinder a lot of the players from these 2 teams, says Mountains of the Island. Definitely because they do enjoy a kick in behind. It reminds me a little bit of the complete opposite of, I think it's Murrayfield, that you normally see the massive in-goal area that looks like they could literally park like 4 or 5 cars sideways in there. Compared to this one where you might fit 2 if you're lucky, but Kinghorn brings it round again, and that is going to make the score 6-0 now in favour of Toulouse. Northern Hemisphere players look bigger than the Southern players. Is that right? Says Dinesh. Depends on who you talk to and depends on what position you look at. Gary will tell you that Faf de Klerk is a lot smaller than a lot of Northern Hemisphere players, but boy does he pack a punch. Isn't that right, Gary? Sorry, I'm being a bit sarcastic, aren't I? Who does Pollard play for in Europe? So he was at the Leicester Tigers. And then before that, he was at Montpellier. But I believe he is at the Leicester Tigers currently. But now 10 metres out the line. Leinster, their first real attacking opportunity. Now McCarthy, one more pass. That's going to be knocked on, though. On the outside, I believe it was Hugo Keenan who dropped that one. Loftus around the corner for me. And Leinster will fall apart from the pressure of Toulouse today. Let's go to Pont. Says the big set in there. And yes, except the Bok boys. Try to find someone with bigger biceps than Eben. I challenge you. Says Gary. I feel like you've spent a lot of time analysing Ebenezer's biceps too, Gary, I would assume. Possibly having a poster on the wall. But yeah, not actually going for that ball off kickoff Toulouse. Which almost got them in a little bit of trouble. Cheers, Hamish, says Bill. Absolutely true, Kiwi lad. Why Australia better at rugby league than New Zealand? Because they are better. They have better players in most regards. And they've got a lot more players to pick from as well compared to New Zealand. Now, Jameson Gibson Park playing half back again here. In the starting lineup, they have got McGrath coming off the bench. Not sure, Hamish. To lose 6 points in the lead here. And Leinster needs to score next. Now, going off to the right-hand side, James Lowe shut down. Toulouse just love bringing physicality into a contest. Evans' bicep have a circumference of 19 inches. Do you remember how big Hulk Hogan's biceps were, Gary, out of curiosity? I think they were 22 or 24-inch pythons. Yeah, nice offload on the inside from James Lowe. And that one's going to be kicked back across. A little bit loose from Leinster, but they are still creating the attack and they have still got themselves the penalty advantage. South Africa building rugby league. Would be cool to see a Springbok League team, says the big set-in. Right, they are going back for that initial penalty. Oh, referee just running straight into Jason Jenkins. Didn't see him there. Even curls 75 kgs for reps, says Gary. Enjoys a gym, old Ebenezerbev, doesn't he? James Lowe just trying to find a gap, which is very hard to do up against this Toulouse side. Of course, the Springboks would be able to bust through it, wouldn't they, Gary? If they were playing. I'm trying to think of that fat rugby player, Nalabakanye. Says Zenda, yeah, he's a big boy. Why is South Africa rubbish at rugby league? Because of, back in the day, there was a situation which pretty much said that any South Africans who wanted to play rugby league would be banned from playing rugby union. And I don't think it's still a rule, but it's still a little bit of a grey area. You don't really see many union players giving rugby league a go. But that is why South African Rugby League has not really developed that much, because of the fact that back in the day, you were banned from playing rugby union if you considered playing league. But now, rolling maul, going to be starting up here for Leinster. They are 7 metres out from the line, and yeah, opting to go for the corner kick rather than going for the 3 points. They know that Toulouse will take threes every opportunity they can get. And at the moment, Leinster, this one looks like it's going to be halted. Matthew Carley looking hard. The ball has popped out the back door. And now only a couple metres out from the try line. Intermac does make another tackle there. Tyke Furlong round the side of the breakdown, the big man. I haven't seen Andrew Porter with the carry as of yet, but it looks like he's about to get one. In fact, he fires it back to Jameson Gibson Park. Looping around, play from Leinster. Little bit of a miscommunication. Leads the ball popping out for Jamie Osborne. And they're back now on their 22. Our rugby league doesn't have scrums, but it does. It's bloody boring and no real test of pure strength and power. But yeah, of course you're meaning contested scrums, Gary, rather than just scrums in general, seeing as it does, in fact, have it. Now, Toulouse looking for the pass on the outside. Doesn't find the hands. Juan Cruz Malia disappointed. But it means that now Leinster have got themselves the line out again. For the corner, Brave, says O'Brien there. Yeah, just pretty scrappy at the moment. Like, Leinster are finding it extremely hard to hang on to the ball without dropping it. And I think that is down to the extensive pressure that we are seeing put on by this Toulouse defence. Pretty much means if there are any mistakes from Leinster, they're being punished for it. Now, ball on the inside to was James Lowe once again. Ball pops out the back door. Cleaned up and now just sent to the high Sky by Ross Byrne. Slap backwards. Leinster think that went backwards off Robbie Henshaw. Doris flicks it out the back door. Now going for the cross kick. Lot of open space. Dan Sheehan waits for the bounce, throws it back inwards. Is that a deliberate knockdown from the Toulouse lock? Okay, they've said it was a clear attempt to catch the ball, although Matthew Carley wants to have a look at this one. Hold the ball, lads, says Blues Nate. That's gone forward. That for me is a deliberate knockdown and a professional foul from Rumar, because he only got a hand to it. This could end up being at least a yellow card, if not maybe a penalty try as well. If he knocks it on, it's a different conversation, but he did knock it on. I think they're forgetting what way Toulouse are going. That one went forward, did it not? They've just said if he knocks it on, it could have been a yellow card. He did knock it on, did he not? Did we not just see him knock that ball on? Or am I looking at the field the wrong way? Wasn't that a knock on? This is the first time Leinster and Toulouse are playing each other. Not the first time, but it's the first time in a little while that they have gone head to head. I can't believe that wasn't a knock on. These teams looking a bit average at the moment, says Gary. You know who doesn't look average, Gary? The Springboks. 2 back-to-back World Cups. There you go. Now rolling ball here. It's going to be the advantage in favour of Leinster. Gibson Park gets it away to Jamie Osborne. Once again, the ball is just a little bit loose to the box. He was already halfway through typing it. Now Hugo Keenan. Nice stepping attempt. It's the 5 metres out from the try line. They have still got the advantage. Kaylin Doris doesn't go for the offload there. Hello, Hamish, says Bill. Now passed out wide to Hugo Keenan. Porter says cross-boarding. Oh, great step from Dan Sheehan. Low says cross the Sharks aren't looking too bad either. Hey, I mean, they won the cup involving sides that were struggling. So, like, they've done well in that regard. They still can't win the URC, sadly. But, like, in terms of they've made the most of a terrible season to then win that competition, because the Challenge Cup they have managed to get the wins when it mattered, which is fantastic news for them, and the first time ever that a South African side has won either a Challenge or a Champions Cup. Looks like they are going to go for the line out again. Hi, Hamish, says Ilmar. That one is going to be kicked into touch. 5 metres out from the line. Leinster are adamant that they can score a try off a rolling maul here. But Toulouse are adamant that they'll be able to defend it no matter what Leinster throw at them. And that is where the mental battle comes into it. Slapped away by Leinster. Sits up for Will Connors. And I am to go Leinster, says the head office. And I hope Manu makes it to the All Blacks team from league. The Sharks lost 1 game against the Cheetahs. And now there's going to be a knock-on, I believe, from Leinster. The URC isn't the goal. It's 3 back-to-back Rugby World Cups. Any trophy along the way is an added bonus, I believe, in Rassi's philosophy, as it's nothing but results, says Gary there. I think a lot of people would disagree with you, saying that the URC doesn't mean anything for these South African sides. The likes of the Stormers, the Bulls, and the Lions, who are still in the running for the URC, I don't think all those sides, if you ask them, would be like, no, we don't care if we win it, because we know that there's a World Cup in 3.5 years' time, and we're going to win that one. So we don't mind throwing away competitions until then, as long as we win that World Cup. Like, that is not the mentality of the players. They will go out there each and every game, and they will put their bodies on the line to try and take trophies and put them in the cabinet. And the World Cup, of course, when it comes around, when they start getting eligible for selection, when they're only about 6 months away, that is when you put on your game face, and that is when you start looking at that World Cup. But until then, trophies. That's what sides like to have. That's what coaches like to have. That's what franchises like to have. And that's what they'll be doing in the URC competition. DuPont now sniping off the back of the scrum, looking to kick this one into touch, but doesn't manage to find it. Scott Robinson, the smartest coach in the world. Don't let Gary hear you say that many, or else he'll give you a 5-word essay or a 5-page essay on how good Rassi Erasmus is. It's not throwing the competition away, it's about building the combination selections experience for the Rugby World Cup. The new Rugby World Cup cycle started 6 months ago. Lekker, says Gary. Oh, someone asking for a penalty in the breakdown. But yeah, like you did say, like competitions don't really matter. Like the URC is not the goal. Even though for every other South African side who still have a chance in the URC, will be going for it. How many Rugby World Cups has he won? He hasn't actually had an opportunity though, so who knows, you know? Could have 100% in 2027, we just don't know, do we? That's the beauty of rugby. I don't like the new tournament they have before the 2007 or 27 World Cup. Another offload from Toulouse. And now, nicely cleaned up by James Lowe. They're about 15 metres out. They just continue to attack. Gary clubs need money, so they need support, so they need success. The URC means everything to the clubs. So here's Brian there. Yeah, like the money just doesn't appear randomly for certain sides. It's through results, it's through trophies, it's through signings and selling your certain players. Which country produces most fans, if you don't mind me asking? So I think it's South Africa, New Zealand and Fiji, I believe, are our 3 largest markets. I would say that at the moment we've probably got about 90% South Africans viewing this match between Leinster and Toulouse, and 89% of them are Gary. There's going to be a circus, just goes around and around and around. It does, yeah. I don't think it's stopping anytime soon either, is it? But, into back. I believe he's been penalised there again for being off his feet. The Box have the greatest fans in the world. Win or lose, we will support our boys in green. Unless it's the Blitz Box, of course. Because we saw when they started losing, about 90% of their fan base disappeared. Because we know that personally, because we actually saw it firsthand. Shucks the neighbour. Coaching Leinster in this one. What you make of Silver Lake pumping in $2 billion into New Zealand rugby. I mean, they needed money somehow, didn't they? And like people are always going to disagree with where big money comes from, but at the end of the day, without money, you can't do much. Most South Africans are very happy in the URC, will be as loyal as they are to you. Says Ilmar. Now Ross Burney will be lining up this kick again here. This is actually the first time that Leinster have opted to go for 3 points rather than taking on the 7. And maybe that is, you know, I don't want to say that maybe that's them a little bit low on confidence with the fact that they haven't been able to break through already throughout this contest. But either way, they are still in that position of, you know, you need something for the amount of attack that you've had. And they have managed to get it over. Silver Lakes are totally evil. Kiskabite in New Zealand control of his own rugby. Says Power Bite. And we have got their Burn weakest link. Labok just signed an extension, so Leinster can't go for him. Says Afiwi. And I think we should put the Griquas and Southern Kings into the Super Rugby. Add a bit of physicality to the South. Says Gary. I don't think they'll do it, to be honest, just because of the fact that there are so many factors in terms of travel, in terms of time zones and everything along those lines. Can you put Sharks vs Gloucester full match on YouTube? I cannot, or else I will get taken down off of YouTube, so it would give me a holiday and probably a lawsuit to deal with at the same time. But this makes no financial sense. Already South African rugby has a big financial problems. You're living in a fantasy land, mate, says Brian. And also we have got there at half time. Hamish, you still looking fresh, says Brian. Yeah, we're not doing too badly at the moment in terms of sleep deprivation for the weekend. And Bernard's why they're going for it. He's bad, says Bill. Although he has managed to get that kick over to his credit, so I'm sure we'll be happy enough with that. But they need to keep on applying pressure here at the moment, Leinster. As they take their foot off the gas, that is when the trouble starts to come in a little bit. And we have got there Gary, and they're from Bilal. Yeah, currently the score on this one, 6 points to 3. An Irishman watching here in Quebec. An Irishman, but a Munster fan and shouting for Toulouse. Love this channel. Keep it up. Well, keep up the great work, Hamish. Says John Downey. Thank you very much, mate, for being here. I will mention that Sky in New Zealand are just having a couple technical difficulties for this final, which is never good. So we're quickly going to get our backup option on just in case. Just joined, coming from a kids' play park. Says Undilly. Well, hopefully you did have a fun time while you were there. Are you child yourself, Undilly, or do you have one, or what's the go there? It's the truth, mate. Says Gary. But yeah, do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, there is still plenty of time remaining, although we are already a quarter of the way through this contest. I think that the biggest thing here is going to be continuing to apply pressure in the breakdown for Toulouse. If they can keep Leinster on the back foot, I have one, says Undilly. Okay, that works then, in that regard. Yeah, currently Sky Sport here in New Zealand are having a couple technical difficulties, like I mentioned, so we can't currently see the game on this screen, but we are about to get it up on our other screen so that we can still keep track of what is actually happening. Some great hits in this game so far. Yeah, both sides bring in physicality, that is for sure, and it's exactly what they needed to do in this game. You've got to try and put your opposition on the back foot. Toulouse are known for it in the top 14 for just pretty much pushing them. Any side that they go head-to-head with, they will try and put them on the back foot. I'm just looking, it says that the London Sevens are live there. Third time and time again, the South Super Rugby lacking physicality. Now we have left, says Gary, although there's still plenty of close games taking place in Super Rugby over the last, 3 or 4 weeks, if not the last kind of 15 weeks. I left the fan here. If this was Munster in the final, I'd be supporting them traitor, says Brian. And Doris just got smoked, says Justin. But yeah, they're not showing it here in New Zealand at the moment. They've taken the coverage away, which is not ideal when you are trying to do live commentary for the contest. I might have to go back and actually look at some of those options that you guys said of being able to watch it with the VPN. Saying as currently here in New Zealand, the coverage has completely disappeared, which is not ideal. One moment, we will scroll back. It was in Ireland, wasn't it? Was it RTX to be able to watch this game, ladies and gentlemen? When does RG join Leinster? I believe that is next year that it is going to be taking place. Doris took a huge shot and Toulouse to win with a dodgy penalty 80th minute. It's possible. At the end of the day, like these two sides, when it goes right down to the wire, like either of them could take it out. And I feel like that is one of the exciting things. Can you show me? I can't find a live stream, says Crossboarding. So if you have an Irish VPN, you do end up in the situation of being able to watch it on RTE2 by the sounds of it. I'm actually going to look that up now because at the moment here in New Zealand, it stopped showing on Sky. But do let me know, ladies and gents, if you guys in New Zealand are having that same problem. I'm getting nervous with the fact that there is no current coverage on, but we will keep you updated with the score. Currently still sitting 6 points to 3, ladies and gentlemen. Go like this. And we will go like that. And like this. Hopefully, with a little bit of luck here, we're going to have it up on the phone. Oh, it says that apparently it is blocked. So we will try and fix that. I'm in South Africa and Leinster to become an Irish Bok team or dream team eventually with Nabas, Neyman as captain. Go back to the rest of the competition. Says Gary, what about the South African side? So Gary, surely they'll be able to beat them, won't they? And that Fijian team are ITV4 and the ITVX app with UK connection on the VPN. Live on France 2 in France, says Anthony there as well. Yeah, we are building through this game quite nicely. 6 points to 3 at the moment in favour of Toulouse. Out of all of the games for it to cut out, of course, the final is the last one that we would have. Oh, it's back. It's back. Right, we're good. And at the moment, right, we're all sorted, ladies and gentlemen. It has just come back for us here in New Zealand, and Leinster sitting about 10 metres out from the line, and the penalty has gone the way of Toulouse. This will be a close game, but rugby will be the winner of those games, says Gary. And also we have their budding New Zealand broadcast. They have one job. Yeah, both broadcasters over the last 2 weeks have had times where their coverage has completely cut out, which is not ideal. Definitely not going into the international window. But currently, Leinster once again using their backline. Great fem from Robbie Henshaw. And he was dragged down by LeBel. Unfortunately, just the mistakes keep on flowing for Leinster throughout this first half. And also Intermac and Dupont both getting their hands on the ball. Leinster late on the breakdown, says Anthony. And I think that might also be because they haven't got Josh Van den Fleur. They were waiting for you to buy the game, then resume the broadcast. Yeah, that was quite annoying last week, wasn't it? I ended up paying for a game. I think I paid for 2 different games to watch, even though they were both supposed to be free to air. So I think overall for the weekend, we may have taken a bit of a loss, but that is normal. Rolling ball here for Toulouse. Sitting on the halfway line, why is Van der Fleur on the bench? I'm not honestly sure. I would have thought that you'd start him at 7. Will Connors, he's been in decent form, but I guess they've tried to add him as a bit of a finisher for this game, but I think he has to start in a contest like this. And Leinster have now managed to get that turnover in the rolling maul. And Toulouse coming under a lot of pressure, but Toulouse defending well up to now. As that big, the French Armand guy everyone's talking about, Meafu or something. Yeah, so there is Meafu, but then there is also Tuolangi, who you might be thinking of. For the French Armand, the guy from the under-20s, total score 50 plus or not? Probably not in this game. I think that 50 plus would be pretty impressive from here. And good game so far, enjoying the physicality. And great turnover, says Brian. Yeah, some crucial ones for both of these sides. Like Toulouse getting the ball when they're just outside of their own goal line. Leinster managing to get themselves the turnovers. And they have got a rolling maul coming towards them. That's going to be another scrum feed here. 2 massive forward packs for these two sides. Still plenty of time to work as well here. See whether or not can get themselves a try before halftime. We are yet to see a try in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Both sides have been close. Both sides have failed at getting over the try line so far. Now in the back line, Robbie Henshaw puts the grubber mine, but once again, an aimless kick from Leinster. Just found out it's free to view in the UK. That's a surprise. Sears Flesh in there. Yeah, hopefully you are able to enjoy the game. Byrne goes across to Jamie Osborne, who will kick it on his left boot. Gets some decent distance and a bit of an awkward bouncing one for Blair Kinghorn. Waits for it to sit up. Near was Meafu. Heard he was the next big thing for the French, but I don't remember him at the Rugby World Cup. I think he may have had an injury throughout that World Cup, Meafu, if I am correct. Yeah, Intermac top defender. So there's a Fiwi there. Yeah, there's a few times that Leinster have just kicked the ball downfield to try and play territory, and Toulouse have just been there ready to be able to grab that ball and put it forward. I'd love to see Leinster play the Hurricanes. Says Maniem, well, if Leinster win the URC and Hurricanes win Super Rugby, that might be a possibility. I think that they are continuing that trend of the winner of the URC facing the winner of Super Rugby. Now making their way forward. Jamison Gibson Park loses his footing. Now going off to the side, Jack Willis. Still going to be available here. Quick hands from Toulouse. Beautifully done here from the French international side. And now getting close. Costes gets within 10 metres. No way, Gary. Says Maniem. And that's now going to be the knock-on from Toulouse. Every once in a while, there's just a little error that does pop in for both of these teams. It's a blind hand, says Anthony. So I just found out I've been watching on a dodgy stream, says Vleshin. I'll put back into the pocket. Oh, charge down. Goes sideways. Taken in by Blue. That's a very good clearing kick. Oh, and he's just taken out someone. I think it was possibly a coach of Toulouse. Yes, it was. He's been knocked down. He's about 60 years old, the man that just got run into. And players seem a little on edge. Well, at the end of the day, it is the Champions Cup final. It is massive pressure on both of these sides. I would say at the moment it seems like Toulouse are handling that pressure a little bit better at this stage of the contest. What a steal. Says Justin No Way Leinster would destroy the Hurricanes. Dream on. Says Charisse. Now ball thrown in by Toulouse. Once again going to be there at the back. Oh, thought that was the knee of Pietro Malvaca almost going down. There goes Dan Sheehan on the line break. It's going to be a foot race. He doesn't look like he's quite got the gas. And Kinghorn manages to drag him down 5 metres from the line, and Toulouse once again get the turnover. Dupont gets over the ball and manages to win the penalty. First thing Dupont has done all game. He's had quite a few touches so far. Antoine Dupont almost set up the try, almost had that try assist earlier on in the contest. But Dan Sheehan with the steal, and then he just breaks away. What's the latest on Will Jordan? Will he be fit to face England? I don't believe so. November internationals seem to be when Jordan is most likely to go. But yeah, brilliant turnover for Antoine Dupont. That's just great stepping, though, from Dan Sheehan. Ref was quick to blow for that. But yeah, straight on to the ball. And then not releasing from Dan Sheehan, Will Jordan or Damien Valimza. In terms of who has the best injury, because both of them are on the shelf for the next, 4 months. So you could easily say both of them. Or you can say none of them, actually, at the moment, because neither of them are playing. But guess which one's won a couple, or won at least one World Cup there, Gary? Look at him go, love to see it. There's Gary there, and Dupont was also the one that counted Lowe's clearance kick. There's Anthony. So yeah, he's had a very busy day, Antoine Dupont, so far. Hard luck there. Dan should have offloaded a bit sooner. Yeah, he got a bit greedy, I think. He saw Kinghorn was in front of him and said, I can go over the top of him. But unfortunately, he could not. Or loose ball. That's going to be another penalty, though. Going back for Toulouse. We're 30 minutes in at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, and we are yet to see a try scored by either of these sides. And damn, what a try that would have been. Says Justin, a lack of sport in the breakdown. And his reputation supersedes him. Says Gary, Antoine Dupont. I feel like you just don't like anyone who doesn't wear green and gold, Gary. And I feel like everyone in the chat would probably agree that unless they're breathing that Springbok air, you don't want to borrow them. And Dupont turning that over there was pretty good. Says Fleshin. Fantastic work from him. He's been taken on the sevens role as well recently. We'll be back for the Olympics. If Will Jordan doesn't play at 15 for the All Blacks, they would suck. Says Justin. Now line out throw here for Toulouse. Overthrown though. And Leinster have now got the opportunity to sling this one out wide. Another drop ball this time in the midfield. That time Jordan Lama, the man who puts it down. And Roygaard and Jordan both out. Not good news. Says Manny M. Now, Toulouse have got the perfect opportunity to counter-attack here with Juan Cruz Malia, man who almost scored the first try. He's been taken down by Tyke Furlong. I think he's asking for the late penalty in terms of the tackle. I just think some people get 1,000 highlight reels each week. Then there are other fellows who do the same things but get overlooked because of where they come from. Says Gary, who's your perfect example? I assume you're going to list a few South Africans, so we would love to hear them, Gary. Not sure who I want to see win this game. I guess it would maybe be Leinster, because want Ireland's tails up as far as it can go for when they come to South Africa, says Jaco van Staden. I only like the team that wears black, says Manny M. You'd be one of the few Osprey supporters, Manny, around the place. Great take from Kinghorn on the halfway line under the high ball. I wouldn't mind seeing Jerome Kano in action again. There's Justin. You're watching on for this game. Jerome Kano, an absolute beast in that flanker role. And so you like the Sharks, huh? Says Justin. Now Dupont. Back across again. I understand Gary Green and Gold. It's such a beautiful combination. Says Rihanna. 7 minutes left. Dupont has been told to use it. Looking for the 50-22 and he's got it, Antoine Dupont. That is insane work from him. Brian Abana watching on with Stephen Kitsoff. Both watching Dupont go to work in this game. The Jacks know Dupont is so good it doesn't make sense. And that is a fantastic 50-22. Dialende, Pollard, Kriel, Umbanambi, etc. says Gary. Okay, so now let's list a few non-South Africans who don't get the recognition, Gary. Have you got any of them? Or would you say that they don't exist as well? 50-22 for Antoine Dupont. As now they look to get the rolling maul going forward. All Blacks every time, says Manny M. Antoine Dupont. A big run forward from Santiago Chocabarez due to the injury that we did see for Toulouse. Roman Intimat, great hands there, going out wide for Lebel. Great step, Lama takes him down 5 metres out from the line. And where is this next big pass stolen by Joe McCarthy? They've called it as a knock on there, Matthew Carley. Oh, he's a little bit unlucky. I thought he almost gathered that one, McCarthy. And that's a good kick. Maybe that number 8 from England. I think his name is Earl. So Ben Earl. Nice. You've managed to name one outside of South Africa. That's a great start. But it depends on what game you watch. Keith Earl. No, not quite. No, Ben Earl. But it also depends on the games that you're watching. Because, of course, watching a game between Toulouse and Leinster, like, you are going to hear the name Dupont a lot more than you're going to hear the name Damien de Allende. Because Damien de Allende is not playing in this game, if that makes sense. Like, when we do South African games of the URC, you see a lot of people praising certain South African players, but like when it's a game between the Ospreys and Glasgow, you won't hear that as much, if that makes sense. So it just depends on what game you're doing. We need to spam a World Rugby for a North 15 versus South 15 at the end of the year match. It'd be pretty awesome. I mean, we kind of get it a little bit with the Barbarians versus, you know, the World XV. We got to see that last year, and it was relatively entertaining game. Of course, not many of the games did take place, or like many of the top players were playing in those games, just due to the fact that they were already locked in to different teams. Hamish, why did the South African teams leave the Super League? There's a lot of background stuff that I don't even think everyone clearly knows, but there were some things that New Zealand were at fault for. There were some things that the South Africans were at fault for, and in the end, I guess disagreements led to the breakdown of Super Rugby between South Africa and New Zealand sides. But I think that South Africa are thriving in the URC at the moment. We just saw the Sharks win themselves a Challenge Cup. That wouldn't have been possible if they were still playing in Super Rugby. And also a Club World Cup, I don't believe would have been on the cards either had the South Africans not headed north. And even in the 2023 final, it was all about Whitelock, Geordie Barrett, the ball winger for the ABs. Nothing about the box, says Gary. Like, it depends on who you talk to. Like, Pieter-Steph du Toit, I don't know whether you noticed, but he single-handedly took down the All Blacks, and a lot of All Blacks supporters have said that. But it depends on where you're getting your news and who you're listening to. By the sounds of it, you're only having conversations with yourself, so that might be one of the problems. You're only in your head going, Russie's great, look at Eben's biceps, I want to squeeze him, and then from there, you're not getting the outside, like, perspective. The same way NZRU is breaking down now. Says Yako, and some bot towards the Kiwi backs would be fun to watch. Says Justin, De Allende was phenomenal at Province in his early career, but after his first few injuries, he wasn't his former self. I guess I'm used to it. Watching Pieter-Steph du Toit, he's always played like that. Ooh, so you've just said, no, I don't want to go into it, but pretty much you've just said because you're used to seeing him playing well, that is why you don't give him recognition. So that's why Antoine Dupont, a lot of people are used to seeing him play well, which is why he doesn't get recognition from some people, such as yourself. I think it's pretty telling when NZRU and its players are falling out, says Iacho. That one now lining up from Kinghorn does go over. It's going to make the score now 9 points to 3. Mikel Lamaro doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion. I agree. I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. And, you know, quite a few of those Italian players are actually, give them a few years, and they will be up there in terms of the Six Nations sides. Have you gotten any sleep? I got like 4 hours, something like that. Which isn't too bad. That one's going to be kicked out on the full from Leinster. Off the kickoff. Who is that? You gotta start learning some players outside of South Africa, Gary. Italian captain, says Anthony, and Southern Hemisphere 9 World Cups and Northern Hemisphere 1 World Cup, says Manny M, and I want to squeeze him, says Rory. And Damien de Allende was phenomenal at Province in his early career, but after his first few injuries, he wasn't his former self. And the greatest and most unsung player in the world is George Horn. Everybody knows this. Says Power Bite there. Yeah, the Italians aren't too bad nowadays. There's that spunky winger, Capuzzo. His class, I think. Scary. Now 2 minutes remaining in this half, ladies and gentlemen. The scrum feed will be in favour of Toulouse after once again Leinster make another error And unfortunately for them, if they continue to do so, they will soon find themselves possibly conceding a try at the wrong time here. Antoine Dupont going off to the left-hand side. And now Cost runs it forward. Turnover is good for no. His hands were down, says Matthew Carley. In fact, there was no clear release, and it looks like Santiago Chocha has now gone down. Looks like some sort of hamstring injury. Now, they've already lost one of their players in the backline. I believe they lost Peter Aki earlier on. The shot from Robbie Henshaw was a little bit late too. Follow Egg Chases Tim from Manchester, gives all good players fair recognition, says Ilmar, and your number 6 wasn't even the best feature in the matchday squad, says Gary. And also Duan Whanamerva as the man to watch in the Scottish team. And there's going to be a combined All Blacks and Wallabies team, known as the Anzacs, to face the British and Irish Lions. And we have got there, Gary, please stop talking nonsense now. Funny is only funny till it becomes irritating. Yarn in South Africa. I thought Aki played for Connacht. Peter Aki is the man in the centres. For a guy who knows so much about the Springboks, you know bugger all about any other side, do you, Gary? Unfortunately, I would recommend starting to watch a few different competitions just to broaden your horizons. You can still watch your South African sides, but, you know, if you learn about some of these other sides, it would be ideal. Duan is a great player, but he is a complete liability in defence. Says Power Bike, there are so many great players in South Africa, too many to name them. Says Rihanna there, and French hooker Pieter Malvaka is also very underrated. And yeah, this looks like Thomas Ramos was already getting ready to make his way onto the field due to the amount of injuries we have already seen for this Toulouse side. We're almost going to have a tryless half between these two sides in the final, ladies and gentlemen. 9 points to Toulouse, 3 for Leinster. The clock is still running. And it looks like Toulouse are going to line up the kick from near the touchline with Blair Kinghorn. Gary is Mr. Know-It-All. And I can't name a single great South African, says Bill Whitlingham. 20 seconds left now. So only got 12 of the shot clock, which means we will still see one more play. And he's missed it, Kinghorn. Leinster will have about 10 seconds to work with. He's trying by watching two top teams from the north playing for the big cup, says Fleshin. I don't know anything and I don't pretend it. I stay humble when I must, says Gary. I'm just here for the wind-up. Right. He's not to kick it straight out on the full, so he kicks it down the middle. Antoine Dupont, he would have been considering the drop goal until Caelan Doris did a rush forward alongside. Oh, that's close to a turnover for Leinster, and they win the penalty. Dan Sheehan gets it. Irish and South Africans never left the Super League, as it's the English Rugby League competition, Bok versus Wigan. Pay to see, says Power Bite. And also need to stop giving away penalties, says Brian there as well. Yeah, there have been quite a few against both of these sides throughout this first half, but the fact that neither side have been able to score themselves a try as of yet, I think is pretty impressive. Now, Leinster are going to have a great opportunity to be able to do so. They've got some big forwards that they can use here, whether that's Porter, Sheehan, Furlong. They've had 8 visits to the opposition 22. They've only scored 3 points from it. Toulouse, they have visited Leinster's 22 3 times, and they have scored 0 points from those visits, but they have got 9 points otherwise. Now Gibson Park going across Leinster. Oh, that's a leg chop. And it looks like he might have just hurt his arm here, Santiago Chocha. He's playing one-armed. At the moment, it looks like his shoulder has popped out. And he now has to try and defend. Looks like Furlong's knees are sore from when he got pretty much shoulder charged to the kneecap. Oh, there was a knock on the ground, though. They'll go back for the penalty advantage. And that is going to be for offside. They try and take it quickly there, Leinster, but the referee wasn't watching. So they have to go back now. So it was a penalty. I think Lowe tried to take it quickly, or someone tried to take it quickly. And a Leinster try here would light the game up, says Brian. And need to stop giving away penalties. Right, so the situation is as follows. The referee is getting a little bit short-tempered. Yeah, not a lot of arm wrap there from Santiago Chocabres. Chops Jason Jenkins' knees out. Oh, no, he's got a bit of an arm wrap. Like they've just said, a pretty good attempt to tackle. It looks like Jason Jenkins' knees are struggling. Cullen vs Montgomery was the greatest 15 matchup of all time. Disgraceful tackling technique. I mean, he did wrap his arms. It's just more of the case that Jason Jenkins also slightly jumped up when he was getting ready to take contact, which then made it look a lot worse than it was. But looks like we've got another stoppage here. And Byrne will line up 3 points. So we will see a tryless first half between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be sitting 9 points to 6 going into the break. Jason Jenkins is back on his feet. James Lowe says crossboarding. And also, good afternoon, Kiwi lads. Rocking it, says Ruth. Welcome and I hope you are doing extremely well. Now lining up this kick here. Ross Byrne, good afternoon. And low scoring game, yeah, and that one has gone over solid defences. Or just errors at the moment. Little bit of both, I would say. And Peter Rizzo and Brayton Pulsey versus Lomu and Wilson. Those were the days, says Gary. That is now going to be halftime in this contest. 9 points to 6. Now, if no one predicted a close Champions Cup final in this contest, I would have been very surprised. But no tries at this stage of the match. What we're quickly going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to get some stats to do with that first half. And alongside that, we're going to see how these two sides are sitting in terms of the odds of winning this one. Did you ever see Kristen Cullen play, son? Says Bilal. And I'm working hard. Still another 2 hours to go, Hamish. Says Ruth in there as well. So hopefully the time does completely fly by for you, Ruth. And you are done and dusted before you know it. But currently Toulouse are in a situation here. Well, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. This is quite interesting. At the moment, for no tries to be scored in this game is actually a relatively high possibility according to the odds for this contest. Hello everyone, all Kiwi Lads Rugby fans. Hamish always keeping us. Wouldn't it be a good idea to put a tackle zone marking on every shirt? Says Brian. And the Brisbane Broncos is my favourite team in the NRL. And there as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of some stats to do with this first half, which has been extremely close between these two times, or two sides, 6 points to 9. No tries scored as of yet. But we might not be too far away from seeing one in the second half. We've seen the 3 penalties kicked over. We've seen one miss for Toulouse at the moment, with them sitting at 75%, whereas 100% of the kicks have gone over for Blair Kinghorn after Leinster persisted with going for the corner, but didn't turn it into any real points. We've seen 235 metres carried by Leinster in this contest compared to the 143 metres carried by Toulouse. Clean breaks 3-1. Defenders beaten, 14 defenders beaten by Leinster and 7 beaten by Toulouse. 57% possession for Leinster and 61% territory. In terms of the tackle stats, they are almost identical in terms of their tackle success, but not so much in the amount of tackles that they have had to make. Toulouse have made 83, Leinster have made 44. And then also just another stat discipline here, 8 penalties against Leinster, 6 against Toulouse, so it's made it a little bit less of a free-flowing game than a lot would have liked, but I still think the second 40 could be a very entertaining one. Dupont to score the first try in the second half, says Moni Lagrange. An exciting weekend, rugby, F1 and MotoGP, says Rihanna. And there as well. Yeah, there's plenty on this weekend in the world of sport. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, in less than 12 hours time, maybe about 11 and a half hours, we are going to be covering the contest in Super Rugby, taking place between the Highlanders and the Fijian draw. It's an extremely important game for those two sides, as it is 8 versus 7 in the Super Rugby standings. Whoever loses it does have the opportunity of possibly dropping outside of the top 8 at the end of the competition. Rugby League's more ground to cover. 13 players, 15 players in Union. That's the difference. Says a Blues Nate. Been back in 15. Or be back in 15. Got a couple Castle Lagers to consume. Says Gary. And there as well. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what did you think of the first half? Did it go how you anticipated? Were there certain moments in that half that did surprise you? I think for me, the surprising part was the fact that no matter how much these two sides threw at each other, they were still able to make that last tackle. And I think Toulouse's goal line defence throughout this game has been phenomenal. I believe they've won about 3 penalties just out from their own goal line. Do you think it would be a good idea to unify Rugby League and Union to have one game? Not at all. It would be a terrible idea, really, because some people like Rugby League, some people like Rugby Union, some people like both. But I think that by trying to combine them, you're pretty much taking away half of your market. Because most people, if that is the case, will go, nah, no longer like it. I don't deny he was swift. He just lacked the all-roundedness of Montgomery, says Gary. And I've hit their like buttons a lot, only registered once, says Ruth. And there as well. But anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back with the URC next week. A few exciting games just around the corner. Leinster, they have got their game coming up against Connacht. And that is going to be at 6:35 a.m. New Zealand time on Saturday morning. Toulouse versus La Rochelle. That is happening the day after, or in fact 2 days after. And then also alongside that, we've got 2 South African derbies taking place. The Lions versus the Stormers, as well as the game taking place between the Bulls and the Sharks. So that is a great derby that we will be covering on the channel as well. We've also got sevens that we are doing. We're covering Super Rugby, which involves New Zealand derbies for some of those contests. And yeah, like I said, the sevens all throughout the weekend. Maybe a couple other games thrown in there too for good measure. In terms of the teams and their benches, for Leinster, they have gone with a 6-2 split, and we have already seen the change made of Santiago Chochabarez for Toulouse, who may have already picked up a bit of an injury here heading into this second half. So that will be a big concern for them in this contest if they do have to start really digging deep in terms of their reinforcements that they have got available. Thomas Ramos still yet to make his way onto the field, but having Houria Malchon off a bench, not exactly a bad place to be. For Leinster, they have got Kilaha, Healy and Alala Toa as the front row replacements, with James Ryan, Jack Conan and Josh Van den Flair as the 3 men coming off the bench. And I feel like that is somewhere that, to be honest, for me, that's the big difference maker. The fact that they have got those guys available off the bench. Josh Van den Flair in particular, with Jack Conan, I think will add such a big impact for the side. We might even see James Ryan make his way on at halftime due to that slight injury that we saw at Jason Jenkins. Then also McGrath is there, and Kieran Frawley, the other man available for Leinster off of their bench. And we have good there. I felt it would be very tight. I think the benches are very important in the second half. Heard the Crusaders beating the Blues by 2 points. I can't see the Crusaders making the top 8. Says Morning the Grange. And where is the next Rugby World Cup on? Says usual. So the next one is going to be in Australia. So we are a little way away from the start of it, but it's going to be in Australia in 2027. So we've got to wait a little while before we do get to see the next one. Rugby League, a different kettle of fish, I agree. Says Roof, and come on Toulouse. Start those tries going. I'm still shocked that the Black Ferns losing to Canada. Says Manny M. Yeah, Canada playing a very good competition overall, winning all 3 of their games. Rugby League is 7s for 13 players. Says Brian there. Have you seen Adi Sneymans here? Says Gary in there as well. I assume that is because Roof complimented Antoine Dupont. I feel like you make a good used car salesman, Gary. I feel like you've got that mentality of, oh, you like that car? Well, you should see the one that I got on the back, because it's even better and it's green and gold. So be sure to have a look at that car as well as this one while you're at my lot. I feel like, you know, you might have a bit of a skill there, Gary, being able to sell vehicles if you needed to. This game extremely close, at the moment in terms of the betting odds. Leinster $1.87 underdogs compared to Toulouse, who are $1.82 favourites. Hi, Gary, but I've seen Fuffs here, says Ruth in there as well. But yeah, no tries being scored as of yet between these two sides, which I think is quite impressive in its own right. We've only seen the one missed kick from Blair Kinghorn. Other than that, though, sitting very even in this contest. Not a huge amount of wind around at the game. And scrum wins 100% for both of these sides. Lineouts have been pretty successful for both of these teams as well. Is it going to be the Irish? Says Ruth. And there's like 9 from 10 in terms of Leinster's lineout compared to Toulouse, who have had 6 from 7. Rugby League doesn't cater for all sizes like the beautiful game of union. It does a little bit though. Like in terms of if you look through a rugby league team, normally the smaller players are the 7 and the 9. Then you have your big players either out on the wing or in the centres or in the forward pack for like league. So the only position that you might not have that much of in rugby league is probably the out and out prop. But, you know, you still see some pretty big boys in there. And as long as they can move relatively well, I'm a furniture salesman. Okay, so it's not cars. It's, hey, I've got another couch in the back or another bed that you could look at as long as you're still here, you know. Hamish, you think Joe can rebuild the Wallabies to be a force again? Says Manny M. I mean, it can't get any worse than the Eddie Jones era. I feel like that was an all-time low for the Australians. So I do hope that he can get something going for them. As the Hurricanes still at the top of the Super Rugby Pacifica, with the Blues second. So Blues are actually first due to their points differential. Be careful, your French boss will catch you watching Hamish at work. Black Ferns need to get Wayne Smith back into their coaching staff, says Manny M. Although we've got to remember they did just absolutely thrash the Australians. Like, they lost one game to the Canadians, and yes, it cost them the competition, but I don't think it's the end of the world just yet for them. You know, they're still a very successful side. They still had some big wins in recent history. It's just that they lost one game to Canada that ends up costing them. All the great sides do lose a game every once in a while. Yeah, second half, I believe. We are not too far away from the start of it, ladies and gentlemen. We will just have a quick look back and see half. Yeah, we've probably got about 3 minutes, I would say, before it does get back underway. Find me someone, Stephen Kitsoff's size in league, says Gary. How much does Stephen Kitsoff weigh? Stephen Kitsoff. If we've got Blues Nate here, you might have to help me out. 120 kgs. Right, we're going to go for someone like a Josh Papali'i for a start. He's a rugby league prop. He's 110 kg, so he's 10 kgs lighter, but he's slightly taller than Stephen Kitsoff by 1 centimetre. Who's another one of the big boys? Who else have we got? Not Josh Papali'i. There's a couple big props in the NRL. There's a couple guys like that in the UK. That is true. Rugby League or Rugby World Cup 2027 was one to forget for the Aussie lads. I assume you're talking 2023 rather than 27, seeing as 27's in about 3 years' time. Oh, Junior Taupo, he's probably another one that, or Junior Polo, sorry, I should say. He's 123 kgs, and he's 1 centimetre higher than Stephen Kitsoff. So, like, in terms of his muscle compared to Stephen Kitsoff, like he's a big Samoan boy, you know. He's got that size about him. He's not a ginger, but he's probably the best comparison I can find with him being 3 kgs heavier and also 1 centimetre taller. So, yeah, in terms of the direct comparison, you said to find someone the size of Stephen Kitsoff in league, and this bloke looks like, you know, he'd knock your teeth in if he had to. This is the man that I'm talking about, big Junior Taupo. Plays for the Eels. Also does play a little bit of State of Origin for the Blues, I believe he is, in their side. And ignore that. What? New Zealand lost to Canada. When, who? Rugby? Yeah, rugby women's side of things. To Canada, that's not on. I find that hard to accept. I mean, Canada beat all the sides in the competition, though. Like, I feel like it's, at some stage, you also have to give credit to your opposition in that game. And look, you know, New Zealand maybe didn't play their best game, but they still had some very good moments throughout that game, and Canada was still able to hang with them and go on and win that, Canada won that game in the end. Hi guys, says 123MS, welcome in. Come on, Leinster, says Quandale. Bigger sorry, I'm looking to much in the future, says Gary. in there as well. Assuming you're talking about 2023, who you're rooting for. Well, I do think that Leinster will win this game. Well, at least I did at the start of the game. I'm not so sure now, because if they keep on dropping the ball, I think it's going to make it extremely difficult for them to be able to win this contest. Come on, Leinster. There's Kwandele and there as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a hotly contested second half. I'll give you that one, Hamish. Like I said, I'm humble and admit when I'm wrong. Says Gary. I'll be honest though, like I was just trying to remember the biggest blokes that I could remember from like State of Origin, which is actually coming up pretty soon. This game will be decided at the breakdown. Says Anthony. Also there we have got Canadian women are legit good, especially considering none of them are professional. Says Gus. Ismail Vaka on for Toulouse. He is. He's in the starting lineup, but I don't think it'll be too far away from the change of Julien Marchand making his way onto the field. And speaking of the field, I do see that Toulouse and Leinster both making their way out of the changing sheds now. So they are just about ready for the start of the second half. When Union went pro, there were a few crossover games up here and both codes won their version. To be fair, the League boys were closer than the Union boys were in the opposite code. Put Junior at Loftus and see how he performs though. It's different when 80,000 South African fans yelling at you. Well, first you have to get a decent rugby league team to make it worth his while. And it should be a great second half. Leinster bench come on at 60 minutes. Says Brian. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they make a couple changes earlier, such as James Ryan onto the field, maybe for Jason Jenkins, seeing as he had a bit of an injured knee. And Ross Byrne needs to wake up. Says Ben. Yeah, this second half is going to be so crucial for not just like the players on the field, but also these clubs in general. Both know that they've got more than enough capabilities of winning this Champions Cup. It's just the case of who is actually going to take their chance in this second half and make the most of it. 6 points to 9 at the moment. It kind of feels like we're just getting underway here for this contest. I don't know how the previous 3 years of finalists have all benefited from home games all the way to the final. I don't like how the previous 3 years. Says Anthony, if Toulouse get a try now, it's virtually game over. Says Zenda. Going to be rolled back by Antoine Dupont. I'd love for this to go to a shootout after extra time. I mean, we saw it for Toulouse and Munster, and it's one of the rare occasions that we've actually seen a game go to a penalty shootout. And I'm back the New Zealand Rugby League to win the next Rugby League World Cup. And also we got there about Leinster bringing their bench on in the second half. James Ryan, he has made his way onto the field for Jason Jenkins. It is the change that I mentioned that I thought that they might make. But I believe that is the only change for either side that has been made at this point. Nicely claimed straight off the bat from James Ryan. Loftus is a bit high altitude as well, to be fair, to play league. Says Fleshen. Now back in behind, Ross Byrne passes it across to Hugo Keenan. Low tackle made on him by Costs. Across, Caelan Norris goes to Jamie Osborne. There just aren't many gaps in either of these sides' defences. I mentioned that both of them were tackling at an 86% rate. We've also seen an extra 40 tackles made by Toulouse, who have just gone with a counter ruck, and they have cleanly stolen that ball off Leinster. That is something you don't see every day with the strong counter attack. Now Peter Aki. In fact, that's Chocobares looking for the 50-22 there, but it will bounce back inwards. Good spot, Hamish, says Brian. And as well, Leinster should steal Jack Crowley from Munster, says Brian. It's going to be cleared by Leinster, and again, they have lost ground here in the territory battle up against Toulouse, which at the moment does seem like something that could help them get over the line in the long run. New Zealand Forever, says Roof. Did you watch the 2022 Rugby League World Cup? We certainly did. We actually covered some of those games on the channel. Fun fact. Now getting ready to jump up for this one here. And line out time claimed by Toulouse. Dupont going across there to Chocobares. Is in the midfield. Dupont again back to Intermac. Changes it up. Goes with the cross kick. And nicely taken by Jameson Gibson Park. What happened to Leinster? I thought they were the Irish national team, yet they're having close ones against teams like Munster, says Gary. I mean, it just shows the competitiveness of the URC, though. Although, of course, a lot of Munster's team also have got themselves Irish caps. That's a great run from Hugo Keenan. But yeah, like every once in a while, you're going to find a team that has a better tactic or a side that can mitigate some of your attack in danger. And you just have to be able to adjust, and that's what makes the best sides, the ones who know that they're going to have a tough game, but still manage to get themselves the win in it. Okay, ooh, Blair King on, good shot on him by Dan Sheehan, and over the ball, Caelan Doris wins the penalty for Leinster, and he is fired up about it, clapping his hands and pumping his fists. And now Leinster, they could take on 3 if they want it. But the question is, do they? Or do they want to go for the corner and try and start the second half in a way that they weren't able to start the first, and that is by getting themselves an early try. And Brian Gavin Coombs as well. Says Azenda. Yeah, just loses their footing there. Toulouse, they're kicking for the corner, and that is not a good kick from Leinster. That'll only put them about maybe 20 metres out as the game in Ireland. It is not. It's on neutral ground, which I think is also another reason why this game has been so close between these two sides. I mentioned about it. If this game was taking place in France, you'd back Toulouse to win it probably 9 times out of 10. If this game was being played in Ireland, you'd probably back Leinster to win it 8 times out of 10. Fantastic penalty, says Brian, although now Toulouse have managed to get themselves the turnover at line-out time. As Dayanti playing for South Africa again. He is playing at the moment for one of the URC sides, and the Sharks, I believe he is at the moment playing for. And it's the Tottenham Stadium, says Gus. And there as well, now kicking this one towards the touchline again here for Toulouse. Like they've just said there, underthrown from Dan Sheehan. Also alongside that, wasn't the best kick towards the corner, so they didn't really have a huge amount of pressure on Toulouse. And it looks like a few more changes are being made. Here comes Josh Van den Flair, ladies and gentlemen, and he is a game changer, and he could be a match winner for them. I'm not a Leinster fan, but even I know they only send the under-20s. South Africa and play B teams in a lot of the URC games. Says Fleshen. Now nicely claimed this time by Leinster. Will Connors is off. Josh Van den Flair is on, like I mentioned. Scored as a tackle, so they do have to release. Toulouse looking for a counter ruck again, but Gibbs and Parker's ready for it. And I wonder they've been getting smashed. Says Gary, and the Challenge Cup final was there yesterday too. Says bystander. Is that another counter ruck there? Oh, it was. Although now it's been stolen back by Josh Van den Flair, slapping the hand of the player. That could actually end up being a penalty against Toulouse. They've gone for the kick in behind. Sheehan waits for the bounce and takes down Jonathan. I was about to say Legel, but it is actually Matthias Lebel. And it's another penalty going the way of Leinster. This one is a lot easier in terms of the kicking department here if they want 3 more. Yeah, Fleshen. And the poor kids go home with the egg on the face. Says Zender. Yeah, you're pretty much at a hiding to nothing when you are sent over into a tough game with what a lot of people call an undercooked side, but yeah. It's going to test a lot of the young players throughout. Right, be a good weekend in London. Says yeah, because there is some sort of sevens competition also taking place in London. I do see. As the crowd big, it looks like a decent crowd. I'd say almost a sellout. Of course, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're pretty close to a sellout. In this case, one moment, we will go like that. And like that, there we go. But now lining up the kick here. So make the score 9-9. And kick the points this time. Says Brian in there as well. Just taking up as much time. I don't think they care. They're obsessed with this 5th star. For some reason, says Fleshen. And that one has gone over. I like this number though. 6-9 is the score right now. Who's your Super Rugby team, says J-Bar. I don't actually really have one, believe it or not. Because I'm located kind of halfway in between 2 locations. It does make it pretty easy to be impartial. And also, like on these live streams, I've found that it's always a lot better if I'm not partial to a certain side. Like we do try and call the games straight down the middle. so that both sides can enjoy listening, if that makes sense, rather than me, like, for an example, I apologise for doing this, but if Gary, for instance, was doing a live commentary of a South African side versus someone else, I don't think you'd hear a single nice thing said about the other team, whereas you'd only hear good things said about the South African side. So we do try and make it pretty even so that both sides get the praise when they do something right. We have got there, it's fun to see the French lose knockouts. What excuse will Dupont have this time? Who's the Super Rugby favourites this year? I guess Crusaders, Brumbies or Chiefs as usual? No, Gary. Fun fact, Crusaders are currently ranked 9th. They have only won 3 games out of their 13 this season. So they have a chance of missing out on the quarterfinals. So they are anything but favourites for this year. Oh, I think they've just said that Gary Ringrose is the only Leinster player who actually supports the Tottenham Hotspurs, and sadly he is not playing in this game. It's fun seeing the French lose knockouts. What excuse will Dupont have this time? Says Annoy. Although, to be fair, Dupont has done very well in this game. It's just his side hasn't really helped him out by backing it up. And Leinster also haven't helped him out by doing some very great things in defence. Being able to cut them down in Australia. Any good streaming sites to get the match? I thought it was on Rugby Pass TV, although I did just look and they only seem to have the 7s, unfortunately. Are you happy the Satyrs will get 8th place? Moana next week, easy 5 points. I don't know if it's an easy 5. I think that Moana Pacifica, after the way that they were able to beat the Tars, might be a bit more competitive than some are giving them credit for. But yeah, it will be interesting because the Fijian draw, if they beat the Rebels, theoretically, they can still be inside that top 8. And as good as the Crusaders sit now in terms of their chances of making it through to the next stage, there's still a pretty decent chance that they will still miss out on that next stage of the competition. But now Scrum Feed about to go in for Leinster. Mate, care to update me on Super Rugby games this weekend? Says gets it now. In terms of the games that have happened, we've still got one more as well that is taking place later on today, New Zealand time. That is between the Fijian draw and the Highlanders. We will be covering that one on the channel. But of the games, we saw the Reds dominate the Force. We saw the Crusaders sneak a close game win up against the Blues. We saw Moana Pacifica beat the Waratahs in a bottom of the table clash. We did also get to see the Hurricanes narrowly beat the Chiefs, and the Brumbies were able to beat the Rebels quite comfortably. So those are all the games. Little chip behind from Leinster, but they did already have the penalty advantage, so they will be going back for that one again. Wonder whether or not there could be a card on the cards very soon. And after that win over the Blues, it'll be the most Crusaders thing to make the top 8 and win the comp after their worst season. Says J Bar and Shivers. Times have changed in the South Rugby these days. Crusaders were the best for a long time, I believe. What happened? Well, they lost about 80% of their All Blacks. Pretty much all of them went overseas to different clubs, whether that's Moonga, Whainā Nuku, Whitelock, he's no longer there. They also have had a lot of injuries, including Will Jordan, as well as Ethan Blackett, who's just recently returned, but still out in different regards as the likes of Goodhue, Enor. The list really does go on for the Crusaders. They only just got to Mighty Williams and Cody Taylor back as well. So they've certainly had an adjustment period. It'll be thrown in nicely. Gibson Park going short ball, Lama. This is a much better backline from Leinster. Probably the best one we have seen of the day, and they still ended up getting people in the wrong way. Jameson Gibson Park bounces it off the back of the player from Toulouse. That was pretty impressive. Now he's trying to get the offside penalty. The referee has not given it to them, though. Can't wait to see Clever JK on the breakdown this week. Says Bilal. Gibson Park again. Inside ball. Goes off to Kaylin Doris. The support run was blocked. Now Gibson Park. Beautiful pass. Out to James Lowe. Finding the hands and Hugo Keenan. Trying to keep this one alive. Toulouse, though, with Jack Willis. He's got the turnover, but Leinster get it back in the same breakdown, and they will win the penalty this time. It is back and forth, ladies and gentlemen, between these two sides. Willis did all the hard work of getting that ball back, but then his teammates did not back him up. Both teams end on a draw. The drawer in Landers Oosh. Here's Nate. As well, how much do you think New Zealand teams should start playing in Europe? Let's make the All Blacks a better team? No, because time zones are a thing, and it just wouldn't really make sense. Leinster have decided to kick this one for the corner again here. They're 9-9 at the moment. So I think they're working on the theory that if they at least get a little bit of this right and they can score a try, they might be in a position where Toulouse actually have to start trying to score tries rather than taking on 3-pointers. But well taken by James Ryan. And the rolling ball for Leinster does begin. 51 minutes through this contest at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. And Leinster are looking to build quite nicely here. Who will be the first try scorer? Looks like Sheehan. It's going to be dragged down 5 metres out from the line. And Toulouse get the scrum feed. Leinster couldn't get it out. They can work with millions of dollars, says Zender. And not many, mate, I found out. But it was dodgy. That seemed to have screwed it down. As a background image, White Hart Lane, it is actually Tottenham Hotspur's stadium, which is where this game is taking place. To be fair, I don't really know a lot of the names you said. So the All Blacks, they have sound like low cappers. I know Cody Taylor and a couple others you said, says Gary. And there as well. But yeah, I guess they're well known for people who know New Zealand rugby, I guess you could say. Do you think they should ease the eligibility laws in New Zealand? The overseas players, certain amounts of caps remaining eligible? I believe so. I feel like it would actually help a lot in terms of Scott Robinson and who he's able to select. Heading forward, the kickoff time for the Stormers Lions game next Saturday has changed. It's now at 12:45. Was at 1 p.m, says Richard. In other words, basing the teams in Europe, says Zender. So front row replacements are about to make their way onto the field for Toulouse. But the scrum about to take place, and they're only 5 metres out from their own line here for the French side. And Solid Game nervous right now, breaking off the back. And Van den Flair wanted the turnover. He's going to be stuck in there. Pot rolling this one back. Being told to use it. Crowd are booing him. He's taken a very long time to get this one out. Jack Willis now does hit it up again. Spare Stadium is on about half the land. White Hart Lane is on, says Gus. And Leinster should be kicking the points now. Tries are like hen's teeth, says Brian. Yeah, that's the name of the stadium. Thought it looked familiar. Says Katzenau, but now rolling it back again. Gonna be Dupont. Taking the extra maybe 5 seconds or so just to kick that one. Well taken by Hugo Keenan. On the halfway line now, James Lowe chopped down by Francois Cruz. Cross to Andrew Porter. Few extra metres there for him. Back into the pocket. It's taken back, so it won't be a 50-22 opportunity, but they've also just gone with the up and under. Jamie Osborne putting the pressure on Robbie Henshaw, putting the foot down. Try and create a chance here for Leinster, who have got numbers on this left-hand side. If they can find their right passes. Joe McCarthy with the step, straightens, offloads to Josh Van den Flair. And they're 15 metres out from the line now here for Leinster, who are asking for the penalty. Referee ignores it once again. Short ball. Andrew Porter thought about offloading it to Jameson Gibson Park, and he should have, because Toulouse, I believe, are so close to getting that turnover. But Gibson Park back across the low, interception stolen by Santiago Chocha-Perez, and Dupont will relieve the pressure again. And Leinster have been 5 metres out from Toulouse's line, maybe about 6 or 7 times, and every time they just can't do it. That's going to be an interesting one. They have to put Josh Van den Flair down here. It looks like he's going to be driven into touch by Toulouse. I didn't actually know you were allowed to pick a player up like that in Josh Van den Flair's case. They might actually just look at this one. So Van den Flair got the ball, and then he was picked up. I think they are the more people from South Rugby atmosphere playing against tough physical sides playing in the north is better for their development and for international. Yeah, so Juan Cruz Malea has actually got Van den Flair around the head there, almost in a guillotine hold. There has to be a penalty, doesn't it? Against Juan Cruz Malea. Unless tackling a man's head is legal, which I do not believe it is. I think they're going to be a little bit lucky here. Yeah, it's going to be a line out for red. I don't even think they had another look at that one. See whether or not it was worthy of a penalty. Beauden Barrett should retire from playing for the All Blacks, and red, Tez Usual. Looks like Pietro Malvaca will now make his way off the field. That is for Julien Marchand. It's not exactly a bad replacement to bring onto the field for Pietro Malvaca. And it looks like Merkler has made his way onto the field. Meafield is off for, I believe that is Richie or Rory. That is Richie Arnold. The French player Jacques Barres has classed that kid. He's Argentinian, fun fact. But yeah, he's a very good player. He's had few opportunities. You'll probably actually play him later on in the year, Gary, in the Rugby Championship. When he does play for the Pumas, if he does get that call up, that is. Now running this one forward. Close one, this says Sebastian, exactly right. 9-all. No one has scored a try as of yet. Leinster have been so close. In fact, you would almost argue Leinster have been the closest side to scoring a try. And they have turned down 3 kickable penalties at least here. Maybe even 4. Because they have wanted to go for the full 7 points. And from those opportunities, they have not turned it into any extra. If South Africa and New Zealand combined, they will be known as the All Blacks. The French are good at judo. Juan Cruz Malia. Pretty much, yeah, for the pronunciation. Not quite the spelling. Now, taken by Jamie Osborne. Gets his pass away to James Lowe. Low-driven kick. Now, Blair King-On claims it on the 22. This game seems to be the definition of an unstoppable force against the immovable object, says Anthony. Yeah, neither of these sides willing to budge. And I honestly do believe whoever scores a try in this game will probably win it. And now, chance out wide for Lebel. He is dragged down, though. Leinster for a little bit of a counter-ruck. Nothing really working out for them in that regard. Cyril Bailly hits the ball up again. Rarity to see the forwards carrying in this game for Toulouse. There's been a lot of kicking from them. Now Roman Intermac sitting 40 metres out at the moment. Antoine Dupont. There's an offside advantage for Jameson Gibson Park. Jumping the gun a little bit. And that is going to be another 3 points for Toulouse. That is the difference in mentality in this game. When did you eat a succulent Chinese meal? That guy's a bit of a legend, isn't he? They know their judo well. Black box says Manny M. Yeah, that's not a shoulder on head or anything along those lines. They're checking in the breakdown. Right, they're going to take on the kick at goal. But this is the difference. There have been many times when Leinster have had the same opportunity and they haven't actually gone for it. We will see how good he really is then. Like I said earlier, everyone is just as good. Or is just good until they show up against the box. That's what differentiates the boys from the men. Justin, we can't talk about pizza again, says Zenda. Leinster needs a try. Come on, neighbour. Says Unbilly there. Yeah, unfortunately, just a lack of try-scoring opportunities for both of these sides. Although you'd also argue not a lack of try-scoring opportunities, just a lack of that clinicalness to be able to score those tries at the end of the day. If South Africa and New Zealand combined, they would be unbeatable, says Manny M. I would love to see this game go to extra time, says Anthony. And yeah, at the moment, there's a pretty decent chance that we do see it go that way. King Horn has got his kick over, sitting 4 from 5 now. And that is making the score 12 points to 9 in favour of Toulouse. The Champions Cup, certainly more twists and turns remaining. We're almost into the last quarter of this match, though. Cyril Bailly is going to make his way from the field. That is for Netty, who makes his way on. And penalty again. Leinster need to be smarter, take the points. Well, that's the thing. If Leinster had been taking their points the whole way through, even if they miss one kick, they'd be ahead by about 6 right now. And they're going to get into the situation how soon they won't be able to take the points because they may find themselves chasing the game too much. Well, we will go like that. There we go. Currently in the odds, Toulouse are favourites, I have just seen. Netty gets his first carry already in this contest. Leinster have not made any changes in their front row. I believe the only two changes that they have made is actually James Ryan and Josh van der Flair, both making their way onto the field. They'll probably take the next one to even the score. Says Sebastian. Now going quickly out wide. Intermac goes to Blair Kinghorn. Has booted it downfield. He's got a bit of experience playing up against these URC players in Leinster. And good clearance from Hugo Keenan. What is the ball in playtime? And that is all I'm interested in, says WLK. I mean, I don't know if I've got the exact stat in that regard. I've got the kicking stat. We've seen... Hang on, I'll quickly refresh. Sounds like Jack Conan now making his way onto the field here now, though, for Leinster. That is going to be for Caelan Doris. So, in terms of kicking, we're seeing 22 and 21 kicks from hand for these two sides. What else have I got for you? We've seen a lot of set piece, 21 lineouts in total. So that's probably taken a bit of time out of the game, plus 7 scrums in total there as well. Now, into back, looping him behind, kicked him behind now from Juan Cruz Amalia. We'll be watching the Premiership and Top 14 finals. I will be watching the Premiership final. Sadly, we won't be able to watch the Top 14 final, seeing as they don't actually show it here in New Zealand. Kick downfield from James Lowe, rest of the benches. Says Brian. And nice stepping from Kinghorn. Gets his offload away to Thomas Ramos. Now to the right again. Dupont. And they're actually going to be going back for something that's happened earlier on. It's actually a forward pass from Toulouse. That will make the crowd a little bit frustrated, seeing as they felt like there was a forward pass earlier on. How good's Masuku? He's looking very good at 10. And that game up against Clermont, I think, really proved the class of the man in terms of his kicking. Even the game recently up against Gloucester, the fact that he managed to get so many kicks over in a crucial contest. One of the game's European Lions versus All Blacks. Says Manny M. All those closet rugby supporters in the world, they are waiting for more ball and play time. Is very concerned about the lack of ball in play time, says WLK. Yeah, and there are certain times that there isn't a lot of the ball getting... Well, that's the thing. When kickers, the original ruling of 60 seconds to take a kick was supposed to be to speed up play. But it's actually slowed it down because people are waiting that full amount of time before taking on their kicks. So it kind of hurt in that regard that they brought in the 60-second one. Imagine Artie showing throat slit signs and Bongi talking about Whiteside in the game. Says Azenda and rest of the world versus the All Blacks. What a game that would be. Says Manny M and Thomas Ramos. Says a Blues Nate there as well. Currently 61 minutes through, and we have got ourselves another scrum in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. It will probably improve the pitch with his alcohol-fueled sweat. And tuning in from Brisbane, which they stream these games on Stand. Is this a game of the season? It is not, no. It's probably, like, if you like old-school test match kind of feel, maybe. But in terms of, there have been a lot of better games in the Champions Cup. Even just last week, the game between Toulouse and the Harlequins. If you go a little bit prior to that, Harlequins versus Bordeaux, I think was absolutely fantastic for that contest. Becoming a cool movie is the Curry Cup on. Any NPC games now are Heartland Rugby's, says Blues Nate. We're getting close to the start of those competitions, of course. Come on, Leinster, big push for another scrum penalty, says Brian there as well. Just saying that Leinster haven't actually played to their strengths in this game so far. I mean, they'll be disappointed that it hasn't gone as planned, I guess you could say. Well, we will go like that. Oh, that as well. Still favourites to lose at this stage, and it looks like there is a bit of an injury here for Ross Byrne. They should add South Canterbury to the NPC, make 15s. Says Blues Nate. Well, I think they might get themselves another Shield challenge soon. I don't know whether it's... Well, did they have one last year? I think they might have had one last year, but because they won the Heartland Championship, I believe they get a Shield challenge every once in a while. I think they won the Heartland Championship anyway. We'll have a quick Google while Kieran Frawley makes his way on to the park very soon. Ranfurly Shield. Ranfurly Shield. Do we have anything to do with when the next game is? I don't think they do have the next game's information. Yeah, it might be South Canterbury getting a chance. What stadium is it being played at? It is being played at Tottenham Hotspur's home stadium. So neither side have a home field advantage. In fact, they don't even have the home country advantage for this matchup. But Leinster have decided to kick for the corner again after another penalty has gone their way. They will be 10 metres out for the line, and Dan Sheehan now to throw this ball in. Nicely taken by James Ryan. They have tried and tried when it comes to this rolling maul, but every time it seems to get dragged down. I believe they do need to use it now or else they'll get lured in, and Toulouse will get themselves another scrum. Now, James Gibson Park gets away to James Lowe. Cross to Jamie Osborne. How's the quality of rugby been so far? I mean, both sides defensively have been world class. I think on attack, they've both been a little bit lackluster at times, but that could also be because of the pressure as well as the defence of the opposition. Another penalty goes the way of Leinster. This is straight out in front of the post. They can throw everything into this one now. I hope they don't try and rush it and instead just go for phases here. Go for 3 or 4 in a row. Gibson Park goes to the short side. Byrne couldn't decide what way to go. That's another high tackle. Back across to Dan Sheehan. Tackled by Julien Marchand. Now Gibson Park across to Furlong. And behind to James Lowe. Little pop pass up to Robbie Henshaw. Still with the advantage here for Leinster. Wide cut out pass to Jordan Lama, who steps in, steps out, then steps back in. And I think that was close to, yep, they've picked that ball up illegally there to lose. And they'll go back for the penalty here. There we go. They've just said there 9 phases is the most by Leinster throughout this game. Now it looks like Ross Byrne is actually struggling with a knee injury of some sort. Looks like he's trying to continue. He's just clapped his hands, but I think Frawley won't be too far away from making his way on. As long as there's a bar nearby, they'll be okay. That Kiwi team probably watching them sweating their balls off. So here's Vleshin. Now 15 minutes remaining. Okay, they're just talking about Joe McCarthy and the fact that anytime he carries the ball, he does seem to make those meters that they require. But he hasn't really had the ball too much throughout this game. Byrne is hurting. Team by staying on, says Bill. Yeah, I feel like if this is his last part of this game, like, as long as he gets this kick over, I feel like, you know, he hasn't had the best game ever, but that is also due to the way that Toulouse have just been charging at them, but that kick's gone over. It looks like he wants to continue, though. I love some good hits, scrums and contact between the big men, but surely this isn't the best of French and Irish rugby. I mean, it's a showcase of their defensive efforts, both of these sides. We got a donation from Anthony as well. Alias Toulouse. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, Anthony. Hugely appreciated. And yeah, it looks like both coaches are talking pretty quickly and swiftly into their microphones. 15 minutes remaining now. 12 points to 12. The chances of us going to golden point time are increasing more and more by the second, ladies and gentlemen, in this game. And just to clarify, in golden point, if no one is able to score themselves any points, we do then go to the kickoff, which is pretty much taking goal kicks. Now, Toulouse have played one of those before. It was up against Munster in the Champions Cup a couple years ago, whereas Leinster, I don't believe, have been taken to one of those at this stage. Not recently anyway, maybe back in the day, but not so much now. 14 minutes left. High ball, Leinster with Jordan Lama takes it well, trying to get the line break, but again Toulouse are there to be able to stop him. Furlong plays half. One of the biggest scrum halves around. Keenan tackled just inside of their own territory here. Leinster, Van den Flair just throws himself at the line. You could hear the thud through the ref's microphone there. It looks like Gibson Park again will go for the kick in behind. 125 tackles so far have been made by Toulouse. Slapped back by Joe McCarthy and cleaned up by Jack Conan, who goes to ground. Still inside of the field of play. Gibson Park across again. Porter. One more flat ball. Oh yeah, James Ryan now. Doris. They're creeping forward slowly here, Leinster. They've looked like the more likely to be able to score in this match. But can they now finally cross that try line? You can hear the Leinster chant from the crowd as well. Who do you think wins tomorrow between the Highlanders and the Drua? I think that the Highlanders have a decent shot. The Drua, though, if they were going to ever pick up a... Oh, great steal from Jack Willis. Yeah, if they were ever to get a away win, it would have to be in this game. Now Dupont in space breaks through one tackle. Is held up by Dan Sheehan. They do have to release him now, though. Finals rugby is never the best. Sears Flesh, and yeah, some sides thrive in finals. Other sides do go into their shell a little bit, and they become quite defensive-minded. Both of these sides have got the mindset of we cannot afford to let the opposition score, so we're going to pretty much defend like our lives depend on it and not make ourselves susceptible to a quick-fire breakaway try. Although now, Toulouse in space. Ramos puts it on the outside of Blair King on great ankle tap. Made again. And I believe that was very close to a Leinster turnover. Nerve-wracking good, though. Says Zender. Going for the cross kick. Numbers out wide. Toulouse for the corner. Did he get it there? He believes he did, Matthias Lebel, but they will have to go upstairs to see if that is the first try of this contest. Oh, they've just said there that there is a chance he has gone into touch. That's very true. Unfortunately, teams are always too on edge in finals and afraid to let the game flow. It looks like Jordan Lama may have got across. He's... Oh! Yeah, I think that's almost a try. Oh, no, it's not. Hang on, that back foot. That back foot may be down. We need it from a different angle here. Back foot down just by about this much. And it's going to be no try. The ref is a muppet. What an idiot. How is that not coming in from the side of the ruck? Yeah, it looked like a clear penalty for Leinster, to be fair. And close, says Blues. Nate, that is so close. No way Leinster will choke 3 finals in a row, says Justin. Right. No try. Leinster's line out 5 metres out from their line. We have now seen 2 from Toulouse right out on the wing, and that is the brilliant defence of Jordan Lama that has stopped that try. It was a 2-on-1 out wide from a cross kick that Leinster had no one defending. Lama putting absolutely every little bit of afterburner on that he could, even though we're 70 minutes almost into a grueling matchup. And he just manages to cut it off. Right, the time is off at the moment. Dan Sheehan will have to throw this one in from only 5 metres out of their own line, I believe. They might consider going to the back here for Leinster. Nicely taken by Jack Conan. Across to Josh Van den Flair. In fact, no, they hang on to it. 10 metres out from the line. Toulouse looking for that counter ruck. It's gone down awkwardly. They're trying to get all over it. There could have been a penalty against Toulouse. I'm not sure about that call. Sears Fleshin. Looks in touch. Sears Brian. And there's Buddy Foot who puts their lines there. Sears Blues neighbour. Good clearing kick downfield from Leinster. This game is not over yet. The ref making sure Leinster will win. I mean, he was in touch, though, in that case, so I feel like it's a fair enough penalty. Also, if you want to know the penalty count in this contest, just for a little bit of, I guess, clarification. Discipline so far, 11 against Toulouse, 9 against Leinster. So it's been pretty close on the penalty count overall. No one in the bin yet for either of these sides. Furlong off for Alalatoa. No one has scored as of yet, though. It's going to be thrown in by Toulouse. Frawley on for Byrne. Rolling ball's looking pretty well set at the moment. They're trying to stop it. It looks like Conan has come through the middle, although now the penalty advantage. There was a knock-on the breakdown from Toulouse. They will have another opportunity to line up 3 points. Leinster going to choke this, says Anthony. Okay, they've just said there one of the players joined the wrong way. Yeah, that might have actually been Joe McCarthy. I'm going to be a bit harsh here. I don't think Naneba is in the same league as Rassi. Rassi would get this Leinster side firing, says Gary. I mean, to be fair, this Leinster side has been firing. Just the final, isn't it? Changed things a little bit for Leinster. Does Rassi pay you money every time you say something good about him, Gary? Because if he does, you wouldn't have to sell furniture anymore. You'd be able to retire with all the money you get. Hard to choke when they've not had the lead, says Bill. And 19-12 to Leinster, says Carmen. A great kick from James Gisborne Park, says Brian there too. But Thomas Ramos, this is weird. I believe Kinghorn is still on the field, but they have actually decided to give Ramos the kicking tee now. Now, this might be a great decision or it might be a terrible one from Toulouse. And he's got it. Straight down the middle, Thomas Ramos. You'd have to say if this one goes down to extra time and then past that to the penalty shootout, you'd say that Toulouse have got the advantage with the amount of goal kickers that they've got at their apparel. Do you prefer a DuPont type style 9, more physical, or an Aaron Smith? Depends on the game as well. He wouldn't need to pay me. He's paid me in good memories with all these World Cup wins, says Gary. So I guess you're still going to sell furniture then, by the sounds of it. Should try and get him to sponsor you, because I'm sure he loves hearing it as well. If you connected your Twitter to his, and every time you tweeted something about him, he just got a little notification, I'm sure it would put a big smile on his face. But 15 points to 12 now in this game, ladies and gentlemen, with only 9 minutes remaining. Toulouse penalty again, says Brian. And the big guys are on. Now Dupont looking for the touchline. Let's get it out. That'll be about maybe 42 metres out from the try line. How many penalties did Leinster turn down? I believe the count is up to about 3 or 4 at the moment. I banned the Caterpillar, says Bill there. Yeah, it's an interesting one, the old Roland Mall, isn't it? It's probably the next thing that they may look at in terms of the law changes and many opportunities to take the 3. Yeah, Leinster could be on 20 points at the moment, or 21 points, I believe, if they had taken all the 3s. If not, maybe 24 points. It's nicely taken by Leinster, though, on the halfway line. Next try wins this game is almost the case that we find ourselves in at the moment. 15-12, come on, Leinster, says Brian. Now going off to the left-hand side. Tack and run from Joe McCarthy. Dragged down by Santiago Chochabarez. And bloke just won a World Cup. Give him a break there. Expectation is highly required. With international players, that's a good run from Frawley. And he's dropped Thomas Ramos. And then it also looks like there's a player down, Santiago Chochabarez, in the background. So that is 2 players down at the moment for Toulouse. Best chance for Leinster of the day. Now off to the right-hand side. Hugo Keane and the crowd chanting for Leinster again. Kelleher throwing himself. But Toulouse, did they get the turnover? They certainly did. Again in the breakdown. Chochabarez has taken some big hits this game. He has. He's been knocked down, but he's got up every single time. And Dupont coming in clutch again, says Anthony. He just gets onto the ball. Antoine Dupont is the player in that breakdown who has managed to get the steal. At least the discipline, come on, says Quandele. Penalties conceded 12 against Toulouse, 11 against Leinster in this contest. They've almost had more penalties against both sides than they have got points in this game. But it's certainly been a test match kind of final, an old school test match in fact. No tries being scored as of yet. The guy that got held up in the Rugby World Cup, says Bill. We need more midfield mauls like in the 90s. Packed with pure Bok muscle versus another fighting it out with power and grunt. Whoever wants it more wins. That's what rugby is all about, says Gary. Looks like Dupont is getting a bit of Powerade going at the moment, getting his electrolytes in. He's certainly going to need them for the closing moments of this contest. Dupont's on fire, says Charisse. He's got about 3 turnovers for his side in this game already. And also made a huge amount of tackles. So had some nice passing along the way. Like, he's certainly man of the match at this stage of the contest. But now, 6 minutes remaining. With that penalty going against Leinster, it means that Toulouse are able to build up the field by just a little bit more. Well claimed by Richie Arnold. So I mentioned we have still got more rugby to come, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing Highlanders versus Fiji and Drua and Super Rugby tomorrow afternoon, or this afternoon, New Zealand time, in about 11 hours' time. It's kicked downfield from Toulouse. Pressure coming on Jordan Lama, although he's found the line break until LeBel stopped him. And upon Sean Parker, who's the best at the moment. Now, nice step from Robbie Henschel. May have been clipped a little bit high from Jack Willis there. Gives him Park again, goes across to Porter. Toulouse's defence has been very good throughout this contest. They've made over 120 tackles at this point, but they have missed hardly any. And at the moment, Leinster have to make sure they've got 2 men ready for that clean out in the breakdown, because if not, Toulouse are the side that have managed to get that ball back consistently throughout this game. Devon could be the best of the best in the world at the moment. Oops, he's from the north. Says Fleshen. And 22-12 will be a great Toulouse one try, come on. Says Rihanna. Yeah, at the moment, 1 try seems like it's getting further and further away from happening. Does the draw knock out the Crusaders? Not quite. They can still make the top 8. There's a knock on there from Toulouse, which means once again this game is not quite over, ladies and gentlemen. Old mate going hard in the gyms these days. Steroids make you confident. These days, 80 minutes of rugby leagues makes you equal, says Blues Nate, and this is a proper final, says Anthony. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect no one to score a try in this contest, if I'm being quite honest, but I'm not completely against the fact that no one scored a try either, because it has just shown that defence can win you a game, and both of these sides have had solid defences throughout this contest. Like, if we quickly look at the defensive stat, the amount of tackles that have been made, Toulouse have made 148 with a tackle completion of 86% with 15 turnovers won. Leinster have made 105 tackles with 87% tackle success with 8 turnovers won. If Leinster fumble this in the URC, I'll crease myself. Says Justin, and Leinster, come on. Says Quandile there. Like they've just said, La Rochelle for 3 years has stopped Leinster from finding their dream of a Champions Cup in recent history. They're now up against a different French side that are trying to cost them this match. 4.5 minutes remaining. Leinster with that new front row. I believe this is almost the first scrum that we have seen of the new front row. Porter is still out there. They've decided against bringing Cian Healy out onto the field, as they feel their best chance of being able to get a penalty is leaving Porter there to go head-to-head with their replacement tight head for Toulouse. Leinster, how much does ticket cost for this game? I would assume, I don't want to guess, but I would assume like £30, £20, something like that. £40, £50, somewhere around there. I don't think it would be hugely expensive, but either way, it's looking like a complete sellout for this matchup. Another scrum reset for Leinster. Come on, Leinster, says Brian. Oh, they've just mentioned if it's a draw at the end of full time, they actually have 20 minutes of extra time, ladies and gentlemen. Not a short, brief little moment. They play, by the sounds of it, the full 20 extra minutes. Pay £50 for this match, been a good game, says Justin. Now, about to feed the ball in. Now, big push. Leinster have the penalty advantage. And they can take on the 3 if they want it. Gives them Park annoyed with Dupont, who pretty much just jumped on the ball to kill it as soon as that penalty was awarded. And come on, Leinster. And people can't believe there's a trophy on the premises of Tottenham Stadium, says Sebastian. This is going down to the very end, says Anthony. And there as well. But now, 3 minutes remaining. Leinster cannot go for 3 points here. when you're in this situation, you have to take the points that are available. Ross Byrne looking very sad on the sideline. It's going to be Frawley. This is actually his first kick of the day. And the most important kick that he may take, I'm going to say it, in his career for the season at least anyway. But this is such an important one for Kieran Frawley. 2.5 minutes left. Frawley's got it down the middle. And that is going to make the score now 15-all with 2 minutes left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. This one is not over yet. And please, Leinster, says Hitari there. And Leinster, my hope, come on the boys, says Kwandele. And good kick, says Anthony. Yeah, struck it very clean, Kieran Frawley. So that will give him a lot of confidence moving forward. And now Roman Intermac to kick this one off short. Claimed by Caelan Doris. And Leinster have got themselves the possession points. So the corner, they went for the points this time. Now 100 seconds left in this Champions Cup final. If the score remains 15-15, we go to extra time, which is an extra 20 minutes of rugby action. Knocked back onto the side of Leinster. And they are 43 metres out from the line now, looking for a counter-attack after the mistake was made by Toulouse. But this is within the kicking distance of Ramos. So they have to make sure that they are making a few extra metres here. Now off to the right-hand side, Alan. In fact, it's Michael Alalatoa. Now Gibson Park slings it off to Jordan Lama. Tackled by Dupont. They're 35 metres out now for Leinster. 1 minute remaining. They're going to the short side to Josh Vandenflair. They're talking about the possibility of a drop goal here for Leinster. I think that if they get the penalty advantage, they would take it on. But if not, you just have to keep on going with phases and hope that Toulouse eventually have a bit of ill discipline. Into the pocket. Drop goal attempt for Frawley. And he's missed it. That's not the right decision, I can tell you that right now. Because even if that went over, you still give Toulouse 30 seconds to be able to line up their own kick. Or get some sort of penalty. That was a poor decision from Leinster, maybe because of the pressure. But he managed to smash it, Kieran Frawley, missing it away to the left-hand side. He was doing this with his finger, trying to swipe it over to the side. Whereas Pollard, when you need it, need him, says Gary. Yes, much too early, says Bill. Yeah, you got to go, like for me there, you go 3 or 4 more phases, you take it to the siren. And then if you haven't got the penalty advantage, then you can try the drop kick. If you miss it, you go to extra time. If you get it, you win the game. But you do not give your opposition still enough time that if they get the penalty, they can equalise it anyway. So yeah, a bit of a strange choice from Leinster to go for the drop kick so early. But Roman Intermac kicks it back down, taken on the halfway line by Jordan Lama. And Toulouse now, looking to try and get the turnover and the breakdown. Great run from Josh Vandenflair. Looks like the turnover is good for Toulouse. What do they want to do? Do they kick this into touch? Or do they go for the win here? They're only 25 metres out from their line. There are 3 players who are down for Toulouse. Intermac goes back to Ramos. Vandenflair waiting for him to hit the ground. He has to release him there. Don't think it was called as a maul. Now Gibson Park, yep, they'll kick it into touch to lose, and we've got an extra 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, of this Champions Cup final. For the 3rd time in this competition's history, we are going to extra time, one of which did involve Toulouse. Okay, they've just mentioned the 2 times that a final has been determined by extra time, Toulouse have won both of them. One up against Cardiff in about the 1980s and one in 2005. Managing to get themselves also the win there. Here we go, lads, extra time. Says John MC and DuPont, definitely man of the match. Says Mountains of Asylum. And someone please give me the initial odds for the draw. Says Anthony, I couldn't tell you. Only because here in New Zealand they didn't have the option of like an initial draw, but the fact that there was not a single try scored throughout this match is quite phenomenal. Anybody enjoying this World Rugby wants to know what the ball and play time is. Says WLK. I mean, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, or you can get your stopwatch out and work it out yourself. By the time they finish extra time, you might be close to knowing the numbers. And I was thinking that was Toulouse wouldn't be able to score. So here's 1, 2, 3 MS. So yeah, the teams get a 5-minute break now, and then they're back into the action for an extra 20 minutes of play. So the difference between this competition and Super Rugby is this is not golden point time. This is extra time. So the difference, golden point time, whoever scored first would win this game. But because it's extra time, it means that you do actually have to play 10 minutes each half from here on out. You've got 20 minutes to try and win this contest. Leinster, come on, boys, says Kawandele. And I was thinking that Toulouse wouldn't be able to score, and the ref just says a BJ by every Leinster player, says MB there. I mean, the penalty count, though, between the two sides, I believe, is actually even at the moment. So perhaps BJ's all round. Is not a sentence I thought I would be saying today. What game is MB watching? Probably one watching in quite a one-sided view, I would say. And Leinster attempting to win by scoring a try, cost them the game. Toulouse management of the game was much better. Still hoping Leinster lift the trophy, says Mountains of Asylum. And also, that sarcasm, Hamish, the ball and play question, says William Borta. And great game, says Outlaw there. Next time, my heart can't handle it, says Brian. I don't know if my voice can handle it. I thought this game was going to be all done and dusted by now. We've run out of water almost. We got this much left because I was like, 80-minute game. She'll be right. What happens if there's no score in extra time? Well, fun fact. If there's no score during the extra time period, we go to a kickoff, which pretty much involves both sides getting kicks from different positions on the field that they then have to try and get over. Similar to what you see in a football penalty shootout. So both sides will kick it from 22 metres out, little bit of an angle. I think it's like 10 metres from the sideline or 15 metres from the sideline, and then both sides will go through that routine. Whoever has the most kicks over will end up winning it. Now, Toulouse did that up against Munster in about 2021, I believe it was. We actually covered that game on the channel. It was a last-minute thriller, and in the end, Dupont's kicking actually helped them win that game. Now, if it goes to that, I believe that Toulouse have got a huge advantage, because at the end of the day, they have got Kinghorn, they've got Ramos, they've got Dupont, but I believe of those men, they can only use Dupont and Ramos, plus Intermac is another kicking option that they could look to. How does extra time work in the Northern Hemisphere, says Louis? So it is different to Super Rugby. You just play the full 20 minutes. 10-minute halves. Doesn't matter if you score the first try. You have to be on more points than your opposition at the end of the contest. They should make it only so that it's only forwards during the kick-in. Well, the thing is, right, if enough of the backs do take their kicks and it's still even, it does go to the forwards. Eventually, they do have to say, right, forward stepping up. Your number 8 could be the man who has to line up the kicks. Maybe a lock. Props are going to be blasted if Healy could come on. It might be decisive, says Gus. And that is a great point. The fact that Ken Healy was left off pretty much for the full 80 minutes is going to be a massive game changer, I believe, for Leinster. Jameson Gibson Park also has been on the field the whole time. So Luke McGrath, he will be fresh. Oh, hang on. So, they've actually just mentioned if it's tied at extra time, if it's tied after extra time, they actually go to whoever scored the most tries in the final. If both sides haven't got the extra tries, I assume they base it off something else. I honestly don't know. But I think the shootout was for the semi-final, so I don't know whether that's the same rule for the final, but nicely taken by Leinster just outside of their 22 in golden point time, ladies and gentlemen. Or, sorry, extra time. I need to clarify that. They are going to be playing the full time allocated. This has been quite the game that we have seen so far. Not a single try being scored. If Leinster wins this, I'll be a millionaire. Please say my name. And when it's all finished, I'm from South Africa, says Kawandele. Now, available for Toulouse. Dupont. On back across to Rumo. Seen a huge amount of him. The number 8, water for you. Hamish, please, you cannot lose your voice now. So each time is 2 times 10 minutes, or flat out 20 minutes. I believe it is 2 halves of 10 minutes. But I could be wrong there. It might actually be a full 20 minutes. They didn't actually show it on screen. in terms of what the definition of extra time is. Now around the side again. It was Thomas Ramos having a sniping run. Here comes Dupont looking for the turnover. That might be a deliberate knockdown from James Lowe. In fact, they're going to call it as a knock-on, or are they? The TMO want to check this one. In fact, they are going to. This might be trouble for James Lowe because he only got one hand to it. So it becomes a deliberate knockdown rather than a knock-on. Okay, he's not in a realistic position to be able to catch the ball they have just mentioned. So because of that, it means that James Lowe will be going to the bin. Leinster will be playing with 14. The question mark for me is that going to be exactly what they needed to find that next gear? You can't believe it, James Lowe, but he will be taken from the field now. And 1 minute into this time, Lowe couldn't believe the yellow card being awarded. And it looks like Toulouse are going to line up the 3 points here. Can you cash out before? Says Anthony. I assume that they probably wouldn't let you cash out during extra time. I feel like that might be a time that they don't actually let you if it was initially an option. It's going to be Ramos sitting 1 from 1 today. Almost a 1995 World Cup final, says Balal. And there as well. Now Ramos has missed. That man does not miss very often at all. And I have no idea what's happened there. What happened? I had to go to the store, get another six-pack. Who won? No one yet, Gary. We've gone to extra time because both sides were sitting on 15 points at the end of this 80-minute period. So they are currently 2 minutes into extra time currently. Nicely taken by Matthias Lebel. Now Dupont. On back across to Jack Willis. Andrew Porter, he almost had the turnover. You can see the frustration on his face. He thought that he had done enough. Referee says, no, you have not. Now big shot coming in from Frawley. Oh, he's knocked out. He does not look good here, Frawley, and Byrne had a knee injury. So how are they going to be able to cope here, Leinster? They've still got McGrath. But yeah, Crawley does not look like he's all right. He looks like he's a little bit wobbled. And it also means that currently Leinster are playing with 13 men on the field. Pass on the outside to Lebel, who goes for the corner. And they will score the first try of the match. Toulouse up against 13. That yellow was harsh. I don't think it was intentional, to be fair. He tried to catch it one-handed, so yellow was probably the correct call. Says Mountains, thicker stuff, says Gary. And come on, Naiba, says Gary there. And the plot thickens, says Outlaw. But that is going to be the try now for Toulouse. Lowe is off the field currently due to the yellow card. Frawley was down with a head injury, which meant that there was an acre of space on the outside for Toulouse to be able to use. And they do score the try with Matthias Lebel. Just recycling that ball nicely out the back of the breakdown as well. And Chocha Perez again takes a big shot to be able to help his side over the try line. And Viva says Outlaw. Great finish as well. Finding the camera, sticking his tongue out as he's diving. Got to be careful doing that. We've actually seen a player, well, not in this, but I did see, what was it? It was a different sport. Someone actually bit their tongue when they did a big dive and almost bit it completely off. Charisse said, yes, 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 says Charisse. But 4 minutes into extra time. 15th try for Matthias Lebel. That's a try for Toulouse, says Brian. And now Ramos. He has got that one over, so that is going to make the score 22 points to 15 in favour of Toulouse. But we are already up to 84 minutes through this contest, 4 minutes into extra time. And I believe Leinster, that looks like Frawley on the halfway line. Mistake by Leinster, number 14 there, to be honest. Says AJ, so there's Jordan Lama. Now Antoine Dupont looking to run it back here. Breaks through the tackle attempt of Ronan Killer-Ouche. There's only one Blues, is Auckland Blues. says a Blues Nate. Toulouse scoring the first try of this final in extra time. Who would have thought it? Okay, the Toulouse doctors don't think Frawley should be on the field, but the Leinster doctors feel that he should be, which is a bit of an interesting one. Now, Jamison Gizabart goes across to Andrew Porter. Expensive yellow card, says Brian. Yeah, they're going to have more ground to make up here for Leinster. While looking to put the box kick up on the halfway line here. Still 5 minutes remaining of that yellow card of Jamison Gizabart. Oh, sorry, of James Lowe. And beautifully taken there by Thomas Ramos. Kicking in behind. Looking for the 50-22, and he's just got it as well. Toulouse have waited until extra time to really fire up by the looks of it. That is a fantastic one there. They are just showing that knock that Frawley took, and then he also got a bit of a knock from Jamison Gizabart on the way through as well. I know it only is Manchester red, but it seems London will be red too. Says Justin. It sounds like they are still having a conversation about whether or not Frawley should be on the field. And if they think he shouldn't be on the field, they should have stopped play, says Bill Whitlingham. Although I don't know if the referee initially did see him go down. I think he just assumed he was underneath the breakdown from making the tackle. And this kick from Dupont getting 50-22s all over the place. I believe that is his second now of the match, and neither of them have been particularly easy, but he's just kicked it to the right part of the field to then just put that extra pressure on Leinster. Okay, sounds like he's going to be staying here, Frawley, for a little bit longer now. It's a bit of disappointment on the face of Leinster's coach with the way that this extra time has started. Leinster 22 shouldn't be on the field. So much for player safety. World Rugby should wake up, says WLK. Yeah, I mean, Joshua Brennan has failed his head injury assessment, so that's actually Meafu who will get to continue. Right, Matthew Carley now sounds like he's telling Crawley to go off, does he? Nope, apparently it's all right. Or is it? Another blow of the whistle. And they throw the ball in now for Toulouse. Another 50-22, have to give it to them, they're doing well. Says Brian, these days, if you don't catch the ball, it's almost always a knock-on. Says 1-2-3 MS for Hoodie Marchand, hanging on to this ball at the back here. This is where we're going to see Toulouse really up the tempo. They've got the advantage as well, so this will give them at least a 10-point lead. Jumping on that ball. That looked pretty cynical from Kelleher. You can't dive on it there. It's an emerging ball. He is extremely lucky not to go off for a yellow card as well. And overs for Leinster, says Justin. Right, looks like Ramos is going to be taking on the 3 points again here. And Man U beat the Noisy Neighbours 2-1 to win the FA Cup. Oh, sorry, Man U. Oh, nice. I'm sure they'll be extremely happy about that one. Definitely because they came in as underdogs, I believe, for that game. And also 50-22 kicks can be very significant for confidence. And can't stand Kelleher. He's nothing but a F-up, says Bill. So who would you go with rather than Kelleher? You go Sheehan, of course, starting. I'm trying to think of other hookers that Leinster have. I keep on thinking Michael Milne, but he's a prop, isn't he? Who's the other Leinster hooker option that they have got? Because when Sheehan was injured, we did get to see the other fella in action, but at this stage, I just can't think of his name. It's a rough one for Leinster. Says John, and that kick is over from Ramos, now making the score 25 points to 15. Extra time, only 8 minutes in currently. And unless Leinster can score themselves a try here, could be all over. I take Bongi over Sheehan any day, says Garrett. I mean, at least with Dan Sheehan, though, you know he's not going to talk back to the ref as much as Bongi on Manumbi does. One big bonus. He's not going to question a female referee's ability either, which is always a handy one. Porty is off the field, and that is going to be... Oh, Cian Healy has the most Champions Cup games now, by the sounds of it. Now, it's going to be kicked short by Frawley. Mistake there, but it's a knock-on from Robbie Henshaw. Leinster look defeated. Need some strong leadership on the field right now, says Justin. Yeah, it's just their hands have let them down really often throughout this game, unfortunately. Just the drop balls. Yeah, just going through. You see Robbie Henshaw here is frustrated. Nothing wrong with talking to the ref. Dane Cole's made a career of it in the ABs. Says Gary. He did. I mean, we got to see that for the Hurricanes, wasn't it? We're just having a bit of fun, mate. Was the comment from Dane Coles when he had Mitch Hunt by the throat, which the referee wasn't buying. He was the captain of this Leinster side. I believe it is, well, actually, I'm not too sure. In the starting lineup, it might have been Gibson Park, was it? No, I'm not actually too sure in the starting lineup. I know James Ryan normally gets a bit of the coaching. That's a 5-star obsession. That's another penalty to Toulouse. That's going to be now a 13-point lead here. And Bongi is being captain, see his time off the field, says William Bota. And also up by 10, Leinster need to try fast. And yeah, they certainly don't want to be down by 13. I think they're just saying that there might have actually been a knock-on in the breakdown. And they still see it for for the next few seasons to introduce some inspiring leadership for the future. Is Jacques still there, though? Or are we talking about, like, for Leinster, you want to see him go to Leinster? Sweet man Doris started as captain, the number 8. See, I wouldn't have picked that. I haven't seen any signs of Doris being the captain in this game. Right, actually, this might be getting checked out. 19 Red has made a big shot on Cian Healy. And Richie Arnold, he just swore, so you know that he's in trouble. Yep, put in the cheap shot. This is going to be at least a yellow, which would use up the rest of the extra time, I believe. That might even be a red for them here. Leinster falling apart now. Mistake after mistake, says Charisse. And up by 10. Leinster need to try fast. Right. Foul play from the Aussie Richie Arnold. Clear yellow. Yeah, it's at least a yellow in this case. It's just that question mark of are they going to see it as a yellow or a red card. Now, we're currently 9:55 into this extra time period. So either way, he's probably going to be off the field for the rest of this contest. And the French flags there from Val. We're going to see it from the other angle. Yeah, he's trying to bind into the breakdown, but I think it is still going to be a yellow card. Send him off, says Justin. Another penalty. But there looked like a Toulouse knock-on earlier. There's Brian. Right, high level of danger, says Matthew Carley. It's either going to be a red or a yellow. Either way, I don't think Richie Arnold's actually going to be back out onto the field for the rest of this contest. So, in some regards, it doesn't matter too much which card they give him, because either way, he's going to be missing. Right, sounds like the commentators are saying it's probably going to be a yellow rather than a red. Again, he's got a yellow for a similar offence in the Six Nations, says Anthony. Right, Matthew Carley has just said, if we follow the process, we're on a red card. And Richie Arnold now is going to make it 14 on 14. Just add a little bit of an extra bit of late drama in what has already been one of the most dramatic games we have seen in recent times. Referral, says Gus, straight red card for Richie Arnold there. Can this switch the momentum? It possibly could. The coach is not happy, though, on the sideline. He is utterly disappointed with Richie Arnold doing what he's done. Right. Kick for touch for Leinster. That hasn't gone very far at all from Kieran Frawley, but he can probably be excused for it, seeing as he's possibly concussed at the moment. Like they've just said, the high danger is the thing that upgrades it from a yellow to a red card. But either way, like I said, he was going to be missing for the rest of this game anyway because of the time left and extra time. The only difference was he wasn't going to be able to line up his goal kicks if they needed him later on in the game. Rolling more here for Leinster. Looking decent, and they have got themselves the penalty advantage now. That's been sacked by Toulouse. Now looking to use this one to the left-hand side. Jamie Osborne puts it in behind. Short ball to Jordan Lama. Goes out wide to Hugo Keenan, and they've just shut him down straight away here, Toulouse. Gives him Park. Looks like Toulouse are actually playing with 13 men on the field because of an injury. Same situation. Note they're going back. Says Matthew Carley. They weren't making enough metres. Although I think Leinster would have wanted to keep going there. Read this game is incredible. Says Brian Rickard to who? So it was Richie Arnold, the replacement lock for Toulouse. This game's had a bit of everything, hasn't it? It's had a yellow card, it's had a red card, it's had extra time, it's had no tries scored throughout an 80-minute period. Now Frawley. They're going to kick it for the corner again here, Leinster, but he hasn't got the distance on it at all. It's going to be about 20 metres out to lose on 14 for the second half, says Brian. And all we need now is a punch-up, says Justin. And was never expecting such a nail-biting game, says Anthony. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel. Of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this contest. We've got plenty more action coming in the future as well for these two sides. Leinster next week taking on Connacht. And also alongside that, I believe Toulouse have got La Rochelle in next week's contest. We've got South African derbies taking place in the URC, Super Rugby, New Zealand derbies, as well as a couple other Super Rugby games in the final round of the competition before the playoffs. We've got the Sevens that is taking place. That is going to decide who is the champion for the 2024 series. So much on next week. I don't think I'm going to be getting a lot of sleep, but hopefully we do get to see some of you guys there for these streams as well. But now, Juan Cruz Malea is going to make his way from the field. That is for Grau, because they did want to have an extra locking option. Uncontested there. Leinster held him up for a little bit longer, which is why Matthew Carley has not given the penalty advantage in their favour. Now Josh Van den Flair. Hands on the ball for Willis. He was so close to getting the turnover. Frawley looking to fire it out wide for Hugo Keenan. James Lowe is back on the field, but he's dragged down just short of the 5-metre line. What a game, says Fletcher. Now Joe McCarthy. I think Toulouse were trying to ask for a Shepherd penalty. They do not receive it. Gives them back on the short side now to Kieran Frawley. If the ball goes out, we are at half-time, ladies and gentlemen, in extra time. I'm playing soccer minutes in a soccer stadium, says Katzenell there. Yeah, up to, this would be 93 minutes of play at the moment. Toulouse should have the pen there, says Anthony. Now short ball to Michael Alalatoa. I have to say Willis is also right up there in terms of man of the match contenders for what he's been able to do in the breakdowns. That is close to the ball being there for Toulouse, but around the side McCarthy. Gets it to Keller. Now close. Jack Conan. He's a metre from the line. Toulouse are yet to score themselves a try, even though we are 94 minutes in. And Josh Van den Flair, they will check this to see whether or not he has crawled forward. But there is a clear grounding. It's just a case of whether or not that's a double movement. And that's a try, surely, says Anthony. And how many minutes left? Says Seth. At the moment, we've got 10 more minutes. The second half of golden point, or extra time, sorry. Is that Willis, the English bloke? It is indeed, yes. They have no clear view of the grounding. I thought I saw one. But I think it's more of the case of did he shuffle himself forward to score the try here. Oh, and they want to check an offside as well by the sounds of it. Right, do the knees go down? You're allowed one movement. Get out of the way, Conan. I can't see a grounding there. The on-field decision is no try, though, and that is a bit concerning for Leinster. They've said the ball is down. There's the commentators, that is, but they have clear, conclusive evidence needed. Right, that is on the line at least. No way, says Seth. And every Irish rugby team reminds me of our South African team. Says Malone, not sure, says Fleshin. Right, the ball does touch the line. They want to see if it was before the line or after. Oh. This makes me a little bit concerned Because I think they're going to try and say the on-field decision was no try, so they need clear, conclusive evidence, which I think they've almost got, but they might say that they don't see clear, conclusive evidence. Your Irish ancestry coming out when pronouncing these that geezer's name. Okay, Matthew Carley has just stepped up there and said, I believe the ball is grounded in goal. Right, he said that he was sure it had gone over the line. He just wanted to know if it was grounded. Now that he's found out that it's been grounded, the TMO is saying it was initially short with the grounding. Give the try, says Seth. And the only difference, as one of those teams win back-to-back Rugby World Cups, the others can't make it out of the quarterfinals, says Gary. Give the try, says Seth. Please give the try, says Cormac. They are checking two different signs of footage. Oh. I think that they're looking at frame by frame. If they can't find clear, conclusive evidence that this ball is over the line, the on-field decision and no try will remain. Matthew Carley wanted to give it, though. And good thing they're not playing on France because I would only see two camera angles. I'm a Munster fan. Right. Common sense prevails because Matthew Carley, pretty much what the TMO said is, I see it on the ground. And Matthew Carley said earlier on he saw it clearly in the in-goal area, just not sure about the grounding. Because he's been shown grounding, that is the first try now for Leinster in this match. And it's sitting 20 points to 25. But these two sides just played a 17-minute first half that was supposed to be 10 minutes. They're going to be absolutely exhausted after this one. We might be looking at an actual penalty shootout, says Anthony. Yeah, so if both of these sides have scored the same amount of tries, I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker is in the final, but that one has gone over, making the score 22 points to 25, because normally they do base it off who has the most tries in the game. Whoever has that wins the final. But if they don't have that available, because both sides have got the same amount of points, they may have to go to golden point time, or they may look at other means of a goal-kicking contest. I don't know what it's going to be honest. Common sense not nearly as common as you might think. I think that's one of the first times we've actually seen it used. And a game on again. How many minutes left? Another 10 minutes of the second half of extra time. Now, it's me, Faded. It's been a long time. Glad to see you again. Let's go Toulouse. Says Faded there. Well, welcome back, mate. You've come at a perfect time, a golden or extra point time between these two sides in the final. Both of them just digging deep at this stage, taking some deep breaths. They don't get a massive halftime break here, maybe around 3 or 4 minutes. That'd be great if it was a pint drinking contest, says Anthony. And also come on Leinster, says Cormac. And there as well. French winning on British soil, how fitting. Says Katzenauer, currently sitting 22 points to 25 between these two sides. Sounds like Francois Cruz has made his way back on for Toulouse. That is due to a head knock sustained by one of the other Toulouse players. Ross Byrne doesn't look too happy, says Anthony. Well, that's the thing. As this game goes closer and closer to the end, you think about those chances that Leinster had of kicking it for the corner or going for the three, and they went for the corner. And they could have won this game had they just taken those threes when they were available. But they decided against it. Not great the next day, says Zender there. And perfectly fitting, says Gus. And there as well. Right, Van den Flair just getting a little bit of inspiration. I think that was from Caelan Doris to fire him up. And he's still fresh. That's the thing. We've got to remember, he's only played maybe 30 or 40 minutes at the moment. Lost my last YouTube account. Needed to make a new one, but I'm glad I'm here. The last game is a nail-biting in there as well. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a tight finish between these two sides. And next tiebreaker is the highest IQ in the front row, says Richard. That one shouldn't take too long to calculate, I wouldn't think. And Ireland needs this win And it finishes at 100 minutes. There's no Vardy, no party. It does kind of. Like once there's a stoppage after the 100 minutes, but we've still got another 10 minutes remaining. So more than likely it will be up to about 108 at the time that this game is over, which is just absolutely insane. And it's going to be a testament to how close these two sides are at the moment. Make the tiebreaker 100-metre sprint between the front rows. So here's Anthony. I feel like at least 2 calf muscles would be popped if they end up doing that, as Joe Schmidt would say about his childhood toy, yo-yo. Says Tom Martin. Welcome in, mate. Big shot coming in from Matthias Lebel. A little bit of arrogance shown as well. Pushes Hugo Keenan into touch and stands over him and shouts in his face. Bit of passion being shown there. Could have left that Hugo Keenan, then he was smashed over. Lebel got right into him. Cameron has said Toulouse. And then 15 versus 14 for the second period, says Brian. That is very true. Leinster have got themselves the man advantage for the rest of this contest. Question is, can they make the most of it and use it to their advantage? Nicely thrown in by Toulouse, though. They will claim that ball on the halfway line. Meafu, he was taken off for Francois Cruz a little bit earlier on. That red card has made a huge difference. Says Anthony. It has taken 100 minutes for Leinster to be able to score themselves a try, and they had to do it up against the 14 men of Toulouse, which is just a massive testament to the way that Toulouse have defended in this game. Big run from Santiago Shocha-Perez, who's not straight away. Oh, that's a cynical one from Caelan Doris. He lost his footing and then slapped that ball out of the breakdown. Easy 3 points going against Leinster here. And this is really nail-biting. Plus, Leinster has the man advantage, so one mistake can cost Toulouse, and Doris had a brain fade. Yeah, just off his feet and then just slaps it away from the breakdown. And this is going down to the last second. Says Anthony, weightlifting by the wings. Says Gus. And Ramos now will use up as much of the time as he can. This would give Toulouse a 6-point lead, but that would still not secure this game, because that would still be a converted try away from Leinster being able to get back into the contest. And Leinster should have this game wrapped up. Silly not going to the sticks. Says Dennis, 3-pointer or the corner. They are going for the 3 points to lose. They have been very persistent with the way that they've been going for penalties when they've had the opportunity to do so. And he's... it came back. Somehow that one snuck back. I don't know whether it was wind. I don't know whether it was the way that he struck the ball, but it has gone over for Ramos. And that will now make the score 28 points to 22. Now, I should mention, Toulouse, they have got 7 3-pointers throughout this game. What do you think about Ramos coming on in this game? Seems like it's paying off. Yeah, he's made a good injection into the side here. That one's going to be kicked at a touch. And great kick from Antoine Dupont. 28-22, says Chini. And good Lord, I know compared to the South, it's not much, but it's over 20 plus up here. This is brutal at this time of the year. And also, I think Leinster will score in the dying minutes of extra time and win it, says Faded. LEINSTER Stade Toulouse, says Paco Ken. How's the humidity up north? Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty brutal, like he said, over 20 degrees there from Felician. Now thrown in. Leinster take it and look to get this rolling maul going. Tell you what, he's been told to get out of there, Julio Marchand, and did not do so. Now it's going to be thrown across for Leinster. Cian Healy has to run it forward. They need a clean out. Another penalty to the Toulouse. That might be the game now, because this will give them, if this kick goes over, a 9-point lead. This could be the game, says Anthony. How much time is left? Still another 6 minutes remaining. Leinster forwards need to be quicker at the breakdown. And I mean, that's the thing. You look there, because it was just after a line out, there was no one there ready for that clean out. 15 penalties against both of these sides. It's actually what the score was at full time in this contest. Ramos and Dupont in a few weeks, says Katzenel. Right, it's actually Julio Marchand who has stayed down. This is the second best game of the year, hands down. Says Gary, I assume you're going to say the World Cup final. Oh no, that was last year, wasn't it? Never mind. What's your first game, Gary, that you'd say was the best? At least the forwards need to be quicker. And 6 points again, and this could become 9 here if Ramos can get this kick over. And not humid until July, then it's horrible. Says Fleshin and Leinster trying hard not to win. Says Charisse. Okay, they're actually just talking about the kickoff. So I believe if these two sides have scored the same amount of points at the end of this game as Gloucester versus the Sharks. Was it? I feel like we've had probably about 40 games that have been better than that one this year. In terms of the URC, we've seen some absolute last-minute thrillers. Gloucester never really showed up for that game up against the Sharks, unfortunately. And I feel like a game's always good when you got both sides in the hunt for it rather than the Sharks just ran away in that game. The humidity is the killer. Worst thing about summer other than mosquitoes, says Justin. Now lining up this kick for Thomas Ramos. And the clock is starting to tick down here. Intermac is off the field. He's also got a lot of Vaseline here from where he has been sliced and diced open. GG Manu, FA Cup winners, says Darren. And there as well. Over, says Dominique. This one to give them a 9-point lead in this contest. The question is, will that be enough? 30 points to 22, although the possible score is 31 points to 22. If Ramos does get this one, which he certainly does. 31-22 now. Score on this one. Leinster have been a bit poor this game. Not the best performance from an Irish side. But I give them credit. They've been good in the URC and also in the championship. Says, was there from Faded? And Richie Arnold is the man who is most worried about that kick and whether it was going to go over or not. Because, of course, he is the one who got the red card. He is not out there on the field at the moment. I know you had so many to choose from, like Cardiff thrashing the Sharks last week at Durban, says Fleshin. And also Bing Forever Churbra says that Darren, the recovery from this game is going to be painful. Says Katzenell, and we've been gifted these past few years when it comes to Champions Cup finals. Right, they're saying about a player of the match nomination. Okay, they've actually said Blair Kinghorn. They think that he would be the one who does get man of the match, although Jack Willis, I think that he's been sensational throughout this game. Also, a lot of credit to Antoine Dupont. Those are probably the three that you could go with in this contest. There it is, Antoine Dupont, the player of the match. People say he's overhyped, but he certainly showed why he is regarded as the best halfback in the world throughout this contest. And beautiful Toulouse, says Rihanna. And also Toulouse champion of the world, Control Island, says Black Flag. And also how much time is left. Still another 4 minutes remaining. So if Leinster are going to give themselves any chance, there's the Sharks B team. Another real reflection of where the boys are at. Says Gary. Oh, Matthew Carley, he's walking over to the sideline. Is he here? What's happened? Might be one of his touch judges. Oh. Right, it sounds like it's going to be uncontested scrums here due to Julien Marchand's injury. So this means Toulouse will actually end up playing with, I believe, 13 men on the field. Or are they? No, it sounds like they are just going to be playing on without him on the field. It's not over until it's over. Let's be careful and secure the win. And if Leinster doesn't win, they at least have the URC, because it's still anyone's game with the URC. Says Faded. It wasn't the top side either from Cardiff. Says Fleshin. Right, 4 minutes remaining. Leinster have got themselves the scrum feed, ladies and gentlemen, here. It's going to be Jameson Gisborne Park to feed this ball in for Leinster, who has played, to his credit, 106 minutes or so of rugby at the moment. Frawley in behind, goes back across to James Lowe, looks to bulldoze over Kinghorn, close to the touchline. They are playing an advantage at the moment for Leinster. Alert Toulouse, says Odin. Now put him behind. Good hands from James Ryan, who also will be one of the more fresh players out there on the field for Leinster. Robbie Henshaw. They've got 3 minutes left here. Leinster need a try, and then they need a three-pointer alongside it. Healy, 22 metres out from the line. Flat ball to Josh Van der Flair. He's knocked it on, and the advantage must have been over. So now Toulouse, they'll go back for the scrum. DuPont wanted to play on by the looks of that. And come on, Toulouse. There's Cameron, and United worst 8th since in Europe sorted 2-1. Conditioning for these guys to go on for this long is amazing. And also, we don't care. I call my family Froggies, says Paco Ken. And also, if Leinster can score now, they are still in it. They would be, but they would now need to win this scrum. Okay, they're actually talking about the fact that at this point in time, the gist of what they believe Leinster need to do is if they can win a scrum penalty here, they need to take on the 3 points. Massage the algorithm, hit that like button and subscribe. Says Robert, yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. You all being here for this contest. And what a contest it has been. It's been quite an entertaining one. We have been going for 2 hours, 55 minutes. Uncontested scrums, they are going to load the front row's IQ average. Oh, actually, now that you've made that point, Leinster can't win a penalty off scrum time, can they? Because if it's uncontested... Wait, is it uncontested? No, it looks like Pieto Malvaka is actually back out on the field, so this is contested scrum. My apologies. Leinster without silverware once again. Says Seth, where's a defunk that comments come from? Says Nate to Defunk. Where is Defunk? Oh, hit the like button if you haven't yet. Is it that one that you're talking about? 2 minutes left now. Toulouse stalling to put that ball, and it's come out the back. It's going to be knocked backwards, and it's going to be play on. Looks like Antoine Dupont has ended up with this ball. They're trying to get some support on the channel. Says Defung there, and it is greatly appreciated. Of course, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now looking for the touchline. Toulouse kick the ball out. And now 25 metres out from the line. Leinster needs some form of points here. Because worse comes to worse, they need to get the 3 so that they can then go on and score a try afterwards. And this is the longest 10 minutes of my life so far, says Faded. Yeah, only 1 minute 20 remaining now. Kick it out, says Carmen, and they have done just that. Now Ronan Kelleher needs to get this one right. Nicely taken by Conan. Going across to Jameson Gibson Parker. Had a really low pass in the end, which completely halted Jordan Lama's momentum. But Leinster, they have got a minute left on the clock. They know that they need to scramble and get themselves a try extremely soon, or at least some form of points. Final minute remaining. Intermac could be penalised. The referee doesn't give it, though, from not rolling away. Leinster now into the pocket. Drop kick attempt from Frawley. He's missed again. He's missed twice. And that is going to be more than likely now the end of this contest. Frawley has missed 2 drop kicks. 1 to win them the game, and 1 that would have helped them get back into this contest. Not a good day at the office for Naneba, and not good rugby decision from the Leinster players in big games. Shares Sean, but Toulouse now know that they are more than likely walking away with their own Champions Cup here. Time is off at the moment. The only thing that could happen, they've kicked it long, so Leinster would need about a 80-metre drop kick if they were going to get themselves back into this contest, which is not going to happen. That is now the full-time siren. Leinster in possession. They won't want to give up in this one, but they also have to think about it a little bit. They can't afford to have any injuries. That's what happens when you keep a concussed man on, especially when he has to kick straight. Says Gary, and deserved Crusaders victory, Blues yellow final. Says Darren there. And also, well, this could be a case of, again, prioritising one competition for another on the part of Leo Cullen. And now they can go 3 straight seasons without any silverware. Says Connor. And also, Connor, I should mention, after you left, the Sharks just ramped it up. So the 80% that backed the Sharks in the end were correct, but it was pretty surprising with how much that comment then helped the Sharks find their momentum. And that makes sense, but hopefully you are keeping well. We'll have to wait and see how Leinster do throughout the rest of this year. They have got the URC finals just around the corner. You had no idea what Paco Ken was on about. It is over. Or is it over? Not quite. Leinster have got themselves another line out here from 22 metres out from Toulouse's line. They've gone over the top. Well claimed by Leinster, who don't want to give up in this game. They're looking for the theoretical bonus point that doesn't exist, but they just want to be a little bit closer in this game and prove that they can score another try up against this Toulouse side. Gibson Park goes back across to Michael Alatoa. Gets within 5 metres. Willis has been good all day, but he wasn't able to turn that one over. Robbie Henshaw gets within 3 metres here for Leinster. Gibson Park fires it off to the short side. I think it was Hugo Keenan takes the big flat run. Now cut out wide. It's going to be knocked on by Ramos. Driven into touch was Conan, and Toulouse are 2024's Champions Cup victors. Dupont, man of the match performance. He came back from the sevens and he's helped them win the title. The question is, can he go on and help them win the top 14 as well before heading to the Olympics with his side? Hugo Keenan, he is going to be heading to the Olympics as well. And it would seem it has. Bearing in mind, Sharks were in a bad position in the URC table, says Connor Cahill. Although that's the same with Gloucester, isn't it? I think they were in second last on the premiership. Royal DuPont made the difference. Says Anthony, what a bloody game. Says, was there from Don Squared, or Don Squared 6. I haven't read out that new name yet, other than Faded, have I? And over now. And congratulations to Toulouse, says Sean. And Toulouse, Les Grands, bravo, great game from Leinster. Thanks for the live commentating. Says Paco Ken, no worries at all. And of course, we have got more coming up later on today. We are doing the game between the Fijian Drua and the Highlanders. That is going to be an afternoon kickoff here in New Zealand. So actually a middle of the night game for some of you guys in the Northern Hemisphere. I'll change it to Faded so you know it's me. Says Faded there. And yes, Toulouse, says Lloyd. And thanks so much, great show. Says Outlaw there as well. Thanks so much, says Richard. Yeah, certainly a longer stream than we anticipated. Went for 3 hours. Game improved after full time. Yeah, both sides seemed like they had, to be honest, like both sides after the 80 minutes started playing their natural game of rugby. And that was actually when both sides found themselves a bit of success. They took a little bit less when it came to being defensive, and they decided, right, we need points. We need to attack here. And we saw some great plays. Arrogant Leinster losers happy, says Leonard. And also we look at there, Toulouse are officially the best club in European rugby, bar none, says Connor Cahill and DuPont. And I might add Willis, how good? Yeah, he was fantastic throughout this game, Jack Willis. The amount of important turnovers that man was able to get alongside Antoine DuPont. Extra time unnecessary. The ref made some bad decisions, says Sean, although so did Leinster. They decided to keep on kicking for the corner. They missed a drop kick of Frawley twice. And then also alongside that, they turned down 12 points to go for the corner when they could have just slotted over a 3, and that would have put them in the lead for this game. Leinster will be looking back with regrets for not taking those 3-pointers earlier on. Exactly right. Great commentaries, merci, says JM. And thanks so much. It was worthy of a final, says Brian there as well. Great commentary, Kiwi lads. Thanks for the coverage, says Black Ben. And of course, next week we are going to be back with more of the URC. Sharks taking on the Bulls, Lions taking on the Stormers, and then also a few games of Super Rugby alongside the Sevens also going to be taking place. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one. I think I missed the button. I was about to yawn, but I tried my best not to, so hopefully you guys are still here. Hello. Hope you are all doing well. But yeah, missed the button. I was supposed to click the end stream button, but instead I missed. So yeah, I'm still here. But nonetheless, I do thank you all once again for tuning in. If you did enjoy, I guess leave a like again and subscribe again. And I'll see you all for the next one.